We're live. Just want to make sure everybody can hear me over here. What's up, produce? Not pills. Let me go over here and tweet this. Oh, it's not that. It's a Saturday live stream. Boom, and tweet. Tweet. How's it going, guys? Does everybody hear me all right? I keep trying to make this stream a lot better. There's an echo. There's an echo. That's not good. What about now? Is there still an echo? No, I'm trying to, I don't have my headphones on up here. Did the echo go away? Hopefully. Testing 1 2 1 2. Hope the echo went away. We're good? All right, cool. Yeah, I keep trying to make this a lot better. So the lighting looks a lot better, I think. I just got some light strips and rearranged my room, painted it, brought a nice little desk up here. You can't really see it, but I got some cool posters up there too, but it's a little bit too high for you guys to see that. So hopefully it'll just keep getting better is what I'm trying to say. All right, so it's perfect now. All right, so I have on the Saturday live stream, I promised you guys I would tell you some stories from the scrapbook here. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to try to tell you guys some stories the best I can. Love the shirt. Thank you. This is from Vegan Vampire. I love X-Files. It's my favorite show. No, this isn't a blue screen. This is my actual, this is my room. This is the office. I rearranged everything and I just got some light strips where I can change the color, but I thought this was the best color, but I don't remember. There's so many. Is this the right one? Okay, so there's that one. I think that's the one that I was using. But we have red. I think the blue that I had going was the best one. Oh, there's some nice purple. That one looks pretty nice. What do you guys think? There's pink. I don't even remember which one it was on. I think it was like something like this. Yeah, I think it was that one. And but it'll do all kinds of things. But I think this is too much, so there we go. But yeah, that only cost me like $15 for the light strips, so pretty cool. Got the dogs out there. All right, guys. So let's see. We got about 16 people in here. This was totally not planned. I was hoping to do one, but I didn't plan it. So let me go ahead and just do a quick. I'm gonna shout this out on my Instagram account so more people can see it while it's live. A lot of people come over and say, "Oh, I missed your live stream. I didn't know what was going on. Sorry about that." It smells really good in here too. I have one of those cinnamon brooms right over there behind me. You can't really see it, but it's right there. Cinnamon brooms. It's about that time, It's almost September 1st. I'm getting excited. The weather is cooling down. You guys excited for the fall? Oh, by the way, I just helped my brother make a YouTube channel for Katie. So Katie has a YouTube channel now. Well, it's the whole family. It's my brother, my sister-in-law, and Katie. And I edited their first video, and we posted it today. And I think it was pretty funny. So I'll link that if I can find it. because it's a brand new channel, but I'll try to find that, and I'll link it to you guys after the live stream, because I don't want you guys to go over there now, you know, like I have your attention here now. We're gonna stay here, and then after that I'll show you guys the video. But I just want to Instagram this out real quick. Okay, here we go. Hey guys, we're going live on the Vegan Zombie second channel. We're going to tell some stories. Swipe up. Come on over and hang out. It's always weird doing those. Let's see. Link to my second channel. Bam. Bam. Done. Boom. Okay, cool. All right. Thanks, Laura. I really like the colors here. I still gotta. It's kind of just like draped over. You're supposed to stick them on. It comes with like a sticky tape. So I just kind of set them up just to see how it would look. But I'm going to continue to make it better. And I need to put something over here too. I have my YouTube plaque up there, but it's too high. And then I got these sound things up there in the room. But YouTube did not send you a notification. That's no good. Are you subscribed to it? Because this is the second channel, by the way. So are you guys subscribed to this channel? Because this isn't the Vegan Zombie channel. Lucas likes the red. Kelly likes the purple, green, red. We can change it halfway through. I don't mind. It'll probably match the green in my shirt if I make it green. Let's try. There's a red. I don't know about that. When I put the red on, for some reason, I think it blows my face out. There, that's like a darker blue. Yeah, I got the light strips today. It's like a LED strip. They were only $15, so I said, why not? Let's do it. Yeah, I've tried Joseph. Yeah, cashew milk. I've tried cashew milk. It's pretty good. It's not my favorite, but it's pretty good. Cashew-based ice cream, too, is pretty good. I can't find out which one I want. Green. Yeah, that like washes my face out when I do it like that, I think. All right, let's go there. Let's stay there. All right. Rainbow. I was trying to do that. I was trying to do half and half, but I still don't really know how to do this. I wanted like half of it blue, half of it like red or green. Green and red. Green for the zombies, and Anyway, so I got the scrapbook here that I promised I would tell some stories, mainly the hitchhiking story, but there's other things in here that I'll talk about. And I have a really, really good memory, but it might be kind of hard to talk about the hitchhiking story because so much happened in a short amount of time, and I'm trying to remember the chronological order of it, and I might not have that correct, but I'm going to try to do my best to tell the story the way it happened to the best of my ability. All right. Yeah, I agree. We're going to keep it on blue because I think that it's the most complemental on my skin. All right, so this is a scrap. Okay, so I was never into scrapbooks, but I think my grandma got me a scrapbook and told me to put things in it, and I never really did because a lot of these pages are just completely empty, but there are certain things that I saved, and I'm like, you know what? I'll just throw it in the scrapbook, and I'll keep it. And so I collected a lot of things, and I'm a little collector. I have a lot of things from when I was I even wrote down the very date that I got this. So the day that I got this was June 1st, 1994. It was a Wednesday at 8:10 p.m. That's how exact I was. I learned that from my dad. My dad used to always date things and put the time on it and everything. Okay, so we're gonna go way back here. So I don't want things to fall out too much, and I still have like a lot of clutter over here because I am reorganizing this room. If you guys look the last few streams, I think this looks a lot better than it has, and it was just a work in progress. And I hope it will get better. I need to find a better place for this microphone. If I put it right here, can you guys still hear me all right, or does it sound like I'm off to the side? Hopefully I'm still here. All right, so we can talk about, well, I collected everything here. Okay, so some of this stuff I don't need because it's from I just threw it in there from an expo. But let's just start right here because this kind of, it was the start of how I got to where I am now. So when I was, I told a lot of you guys the story about how I first stumbled into this lifestyle of where I am now as a vegan. And that was because when I was 14, I started training the martial art ninjutsu with a close family friend of a good friend of mine, like a next door neighbor. And that's where it pretty much started with me. I started doing ninjutsu, and I was so into it. And it was my trainer was so into it. Like he was living like he was a minimalist. I remember like all he had was like a futon and a couple books in his room, and like very minimalist. And he was Buddhist, and then one day before we started training, he taught us about the ancient Buddhist. The ancient ninjas were predominantly vegetarian, and he had he had 2 different foods for us and some green tea, and one of them was tofu, and then the other was tabbouleh. Not to say that they ate tabbouleh, but that was a vegetarian vegan food, and so was tofu. So that's the first time that I ever tried this. This is back in 1990, and that was the first time I had ever heard of or tried tofu, and that kind of led me to where I am now. It led me over the next few years to like question it more and more and more until I became a vegan, and here I am now telling you the story. Well, the day that I decided to go vegetarian, I was being trained with 2 of my really good friends at the time, and unfortunately, one of them I don't have any contact with anymore today, but the other one, he's still a really good friend. I just haven't seen him in a long time, just busy lives and everything, but still a really good friend. And he's one of the ones that went with me on this hitchhiking story that I'm going to tell you. But the day that we went vegetarian, the day that we marked the day that we went vegetarian, we were learning all this extra stuff from just like the martial arts side of like the whole ninjutsu thing. So we were learning to speak certain phrases in Japanese and writing certain things and learning all the pressure points in the Japanese names and stuff like that. And we wanted to give ourselves a tattoo of what is called ninpo. And ninpo was a ninja term that meant the blade over the heart. So the blade is protecting the heart. It's ninpo, and that's what we were taught. And we wanted to find out where should we give ourselves this tattoo representing, the day that we decide to go vegetarian. So we're like, well, let's do it in a place that's not that obvious, okay? Let's do it right on our hand. What was I thinking? So we both gave ourselves tattoos on our hands, and a pressure point, which we learned was called Yobitsubo. It was a pressure point right here in your hand. See, I'm grabbing it right here, so right here. That's my tattoo. That's where I gave myself a tattoo, and that's where he gave himself a tattoo, and we both gave ourselves the tattoo. And then this is what it's supposed to look like. It's the one in the middle, the ninpo. And so that's what it's supposed to look like, and it kind of does, but a lot of people think that I just scribbled on my hand, and some people think that I just had dirt on my hand, and I don't even notice it anymore. But do I regret doing it? No. That represents, when I first went vegetarian, and we both have a tattoo there. I was even offered by somebody that they could laser it off, and I'm like, no, it's okay. And around that are the characters for the 5 elements: the wind, fire, water, earth. Wind, fire, water, earth, air. Yes. And Let's see if I can remember them all. Okay, so this one right here, the top one, that's fire. That one right there, I believe, is earth. That one is water. You know, I might be wrong. That might be air and that might be fire, or vice versa. Water, air. I think I could be wrong. And if you can see, this one right here, it's hard to see it, but that one right, this one right, it's hard to like do this. It's everything's back. That one is exactly what my tattoo looks like. The second one up, and this is what we we were learning this. We were learning to write like this and everything, and that was I was incredibly excited about that. So that's where it all kind of started for me. Alrighty. Okay, so you're subbed and belled. Awesome, thank you. Blue is depressing, is it? Is this depressing? I think it looks nice. I think it complements the X-Files shirt. I don't know what other color to give it. I mean, this is like a... Just think I'm like in like a, kind of an X-Files-ish dungeon room, like giving you guys the news or something. I don't know. But this is not supposed to be a depressing stream by any means. This is supposed to be fun. We're going down memory lane, you know? What other color? What's another uplifting color? Yellow? It just doesn't look right. It doesn't look good. Blue, green. It's almost like there's a better green. How's green? Is green good? Orange? No, that's like I'm mad. No, I'm not gonna do that one. Maybe we could do green, but I think it washes my face out when I do green. It changes the way I look. Does he still have his tattoo? My friend still has his tattoo. Does he still do martial arts? I don't believe so. He's very busy. He's like a workaholic. He started his own construction company, and that's all he does. I remember a few years back I made shirts for his company because I have a screen printer, and I think that's the last I saw him. I haven't seen him since. I really want to. I'm going back with the blue just because I think it's. How about like a cold blue? There we go. Not depressing, but like a colder blue, like Frostman. I don't know. Who's Frostman? Green. We're gonna keep it with the blue, and just keep in mind that this is not a depressing stream. Yeah, of course I've seen the movie Beetlejuice. Yeah. Why did I stop doing martial arts? Well, I wouldn't say that I stopped. Like, part of that was like everyday thing. Like, and there was more to it. The whole lifestyle. There's so much I learned from that. And I talk about that in my How I Went Vegan video. And I looked up to my trainer. He was a few years older than me. I was about 14 when I started, and he was probably like 19, 20. And obviously, we all idolized him. He trained us a lot, and we learned a lot, and not just from like the contact part of it, but also like everyday stretches and exercises, and being one with the elements around us and stuff. We were learning all this stuff, and we had some, spiritual things and stuff that we learned too. And then I never saw him again, but he stayed family friends with my good friend that I'm still friends with to this day. And he became like a tattoo artist, I think, down in Tennessee. And then unfortunately he took his life a year or two ago, and I talked about that in my video. So I will never see him again. And he's the one that, it was him that introduced me to this lifestyle and becoming a vegan now. And although he wasn't a vegan, he turned me on to being a vegetarian, which led me to where I am now. So like, I credit him with like a lot of who I turned into, but I was never able to talk to him again because I recently connected with him on Facebook probably like 6 or 7 years ago. So I had like a quick chat with him, and I basically said, thanks so much, I am where I am because of you. But then that was it, and like, yeah, so it's really sad. It's unfortunate. Zombie calendars. Okay, so what else do we have in here? After that I ended up going to, so this was my jiu-jitsu schedule, so I ended up going to jiu-jitsu. I did ninjutsu. So after training with him, like on our own, I ended up doing ninjutsu with the same friend and his little brother, and then I did some jiu-jitsu for a little while. Then I moved down to Washington D.C. back in 2008. I was doing it up here in Syracuse, and then I moved down there, and then I hurt my back, and then there was no more doing the martial arts because my back was broken. Not broken, but I had sciatica really bad. Oh, and this is when we were in the paper for our cookbook. Our cookbook was in the paper when we first came out with that. So, okay, so let's see. A lot of comments on the colors in the background. Yeah, I'm loving it. I think it looks a lot better than some of my other streams where everything's just blown up. What I did was I have a capture card now, so I'm using my actual camera to do this, which I'm going to have to take that. I'm going to have to return that camera pretty soon because it's defective, and I have to send it back to Sony instead of going to Best Buy and them swapping it out for me. So that really sucks. So I won't be able to use. If I'm going to film, I got to use my old camera or my iPhone. Some of this stuff I kept everything, so some of this stuff I don't even know what it is. Oh, this was my bank card from when I was growing up when I was a little kid. Probably doesn't even exist anymore. Okay. Well, what do I have here? I have clippings of Brandon Lee from The Crow. When The Crow came out, went to see The Crow. I've got stuff from my first driver's license, which you guys don't need to see that. I'm just kind of going through here. I had a hall pass from high school. We're going way back. We're going back like 26 years ago. I have a lunch ticket. Let's see. Laser maze. Oh, I got my report card. Let's see. Let's see how I did on my report card. I was not an A student when I was in high school. I was in college, but in high school, not so much. Although I do have I have a few 90s here. Let's see. I was good in art, so I had a good average in art. Creative writing. I was good at creative writing, but it doesn't look like my final grade reflected that. I had like a 79, so not good. Another art class, 95. Economics. I should have been better in economics. I only got a 76. English, 82. Gym, 86. 95 in home ec. And 88 in participation in government. And then gym, 94 and 90. Okay. So it was okay. I wasn't the best student. That was back in 93, 94. By the way, I got an award for never missing a day of school. I was that kid that never missed a day of school. Not just for my senior year, but for like 8th grade to 12th grade. I never missed a single day of class. Ever. Okay, so here it is. This is where it starts. So this happened 25 years ago this month, August. I went hitchhiking with the same friend that I was telling you. I'm just going to tell you his name so we don't have to keep saying his name. So my friend that I got the tattoo with, his name is Chansey. and he's my best friend. Do you want me to tell you about? Because this is a whole other story, but it's interesting. It's kind of crazy, but I can skip it because it's kind of, it doesn't really. It kind of has a little bit to do with this, but he saved my life, and if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be here telling the story, and I wouldn't have been there telling the story about how we went hitchhiking, because we never would have gone hitchhiking. I could save that story because I did almost die. So, but if you guys want to hear it, I'll tell you that one first, and then we'll go on. But some people probably might not want to hear that, so I just want to make sure that some of you guys do want to hear it if I'm going to tell it. Lost on Earth. Yeah, so yeah, we're like kind of the same there. Like I would never miss school. I was always there. I was that kid that barely ever got sick. And yeah. So this happened August 5th through the 16th. That was our hitchhiking story of 1994 after I graduated from high school. This is right before I was a vegan. So it was like a month before I went vegan. Okay. And I have the exact... Wow. This was a long time ago. Alright, so I'm going to tell the story about how... Okay, so my friend Chancey, I met him in high school when I was in 9th grade. Our high school at the time, it's changed since then, but our high school at the time went from grades 8 to 12. Now it's 9 through 12. And the middle school is like 6 to 8. Yeah. But he was a grade under me, and I was, as you guys, a lot of you know, I was an avid skateboarder. And I heard about this guy. I heard about a couple dudes that were the next town over from me. And one of them was Chancey. And he was a skateboarder too. So I was like, okay, so I've heard of this dude, but I don't know who he is. And I was in history class. And he was in my class. And I don't remember. Maybe it wasn't history class. Maybe it was like a study hall. But my history teacher was ahead of the study hall. So I heard about him. And then when, the first day of school, I heard the teacher, asking, roll call, asking for names, Chancey. And I looked over, I'm like, there he is, man. I gotta be friends with this guy because he's a skateboarder and I hear he's really good and I'm a skateboarder and we need to skate together. So him and our other friend, Jameis, we ended up becoming friends, This is a long time. I was 14. So these guys were like 13, and we would just get together and skateboard. And I would go out to where he lived, which was again the next town over. And this is kind of like my beginning of kind of being, because I was a pretty sheltered kid. My mom was my parents were very strict with me because I'm the oldest child. As my brothers and sisters got older, like they were less strict with them, but I was the first child. They were really strict with me. So I was never allowed to, I was always getting grounded and stuff. So this was kind of like my first like real like, hey, I'm kind of on my own. Like I'm not being supervised as much. You're dropping me off at my friend's house and we're hanging out. And I remember like they dropped me off. We had like a sleepover, but it was like a sleepover in the woods behind his house. And they all had sleeping bags and they didn't have one for me. So I just got like a blanket, and it was so cold that night. It didn't snow. It wasn't winter. It was probably like fall. But I remember just being like as wrapped up as I could, like trying to shiver myself to sleep. And so that's kind of how it was. And they didn't have money growing up. And I mean, like when I say this, like their house was a very falling apart house. The front door didn't even lock. It wouldn't even lock. And I remember there was a camper. They had a camper. It was like a rundown camper, but it was outside, and we were hanging out in there. And I had it was like a sleepover, and we were over there. And this is like a summer, and I actually wrote a story about this in creative writing in high school, and I got a really good grade on it, but nobody knew what it was about, and I didn't tell anybody what it was about. And I just kind of smiled and was like, oh, I'll grab my grade. But that was about how I almost died. So we're in the camper, and my buddy, I was hanging out with his little brother, and it was a Saturday because I remember we were watching Saturday Night Live on this little tiny TV, and back then, like a dial TV. We're talking a good 28 years ago, and we're in the camper, and so they got electricity in the camper, and my buddy is talking on his phone to his brand new girlfriend, who, this is crazy, he was talking to his brand new girlfriend who they've been together all these years. So they're married now, and so that's almost 30 years they've been together. And so he's talking to his new girlfriend, and we're kind of like making fun of him, and we're just being brats, and we're just singing stupid songs and just whatever. And summer night, it was sprinkling out a little bit, and his brother's like, well, hold on, I gotta go, out there and take a pee. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna get out and go out there too. And he said something to me, but I didn't hear what he said, and that was my biggest mistake. So he jumped out of the camper, and I didn't hear what he said. What he said was, don't hold on to the side, jump out of the camper. I had no idea. I didn't hear him say it, and I had no idea why he would have said it, because I've never dealt with anything like this. The camper had a lot of electricity into it, and for some reason it was not grounded well. Nobody grounded it, and we're just a bunch of little kids. So I'm barefoot, and it's raining out, and I grabbed the side of the camper to let myself down, and as soon as my foot touched the ground, I started getting electrocuted, like really bad. And I remember, these are the things that went through my head. So first off, I knew his mom was inside sleeping, and I didn't want to wake her up. Now, I could think perfectly, but I knew that I was getting electrocuted. And I'm like, okay, don't scream, just let go. Just let go. So I tried to let go, and I couldn't let go. Because when you're getting electrocuted, all your muscles contract. So I'm holding myself onto the side as I'm getting electrocuted, and I'm looking at the side of the camper, and I just screamed as loud as I could, bloody murder. I was like, help me, as loud as I could. And then I remember, when they say your life flashes before your eyes, that's exactly what happened with me. I was only 14, and the things that I were thinking were, I'm never going to see my parents again. I'm never going to see my brothers again. I'm never going to see my sister. I'm never going to see my grandparents. I've never driven a car. I've never kissed a girl. I've never done any of these things in my life. And now it's over with. And they say everything goes black, but for me, it was going white. Everything from the outside in was going white, like this. And I could feel the shaking of my arm and through my whole body. And I just looked at the side of the camper, and there was nothing I could do, and I just accepted it. I was just like, all right, I'm dead. That was that. And I remember thinking, like, that was a really short life, but there's nothing I can do. That was my life. I'm dead. I guess we'll find out if there's a God or not. And that was the last thing I remember. I was totally unconscious. I woke up on the ground, and I remember looking up, and my buddy thought I was kidding at first, so he was mad. But then when he realized what happened, he came over, and I was unconscious. I don't know what happened, but I guess he kicked me off the side, and I landed on the ground. And then the younger brother, he was like crying above me. He's like, oh my God, crying. When all he really had to do was go and unplug the extension cord, but he was like 11 or 12 years old. He panicked and he froze, and he didn't unplug it. He just kind of like was freaking out. So I wasn't crying or anything. I just opened my eyes and I looked up, and my fingertips and my feet were like, they hurt so bad, and they were like burning, and like my feet were like contorted, and I was okay, but I was traumatized. Like, I did not, like, this is what it did to me. Like, I literally did not want to go, obviously, back in the camper. I made sure that, this is like 4 a.m. We went back. My one buddy stayed in the camper, but me and the little brother, we went back inside, and I remember, like, I needed to do something. I didn't want to tell my parents, because then they would never let me go hang out again with anybody. I'd be grounded at home forever. So I never told them. And then I remember we had these paint markers, and I wanted to just paint on my skateboard and like try to do things to get my mind away from what just happened. Like I didn't want him to turn the lights off. I didn't want to go to bed. And he's like, dude, we got to go to bed. It's so late. And I'm like, wait, can we just leave the light? He's like, dude, I can't leave the lights on. So I'm like, okay, all right. So I'm like, I'm being a wimp here. So I'll go to bed. But from then on in, for like 6 months, I would have nightmares of like this big construction guy coming up to me with like a big construction hat, really big solid dude with like dirt all over his face and like these glowing eyes, and he had like this like big wire with electricity, and he'd come up to me and he'd like put it on me, and when I went home, I made sure like I pulled my bed away from like the light sockets and stuff. I didn't want anything to do with electricity. Like I did not want to be around it. Like I was afraid I was going to get electrocuted again. And it was bad. Like I'm okay now, but like that was, so I credited it. I'm like, dude, if it wasn't for you kicking me off here, I wouldn't be here right now. So because of him, here we are today. So that's the story. It doesn't traumatize me anymore, no. That's just one of the cases where I almost died. There's several other stories that I have that, I probably am like a cat. I used up all my lives. But anyway, I graduated high school, 1994. I got a plaque for perfect attendance. And shortly after I graduated, I worked at a travel plaza. If you guys are on like the Thruway and stuff, the travel plazas used to be owned by Marriott, which is like the hotels and stuff. And they used to own the travel plazas where you would pull off and like, get gas and go in and get food and restrooms and stuff like that. So I worked there as my first job, and one of my first jobs. It was like my second job, but my first job that I actually kept for a while. And we worked there for like a year or two or something. And I worked there with him and another one of my friends, whose name is Paul. And we were all vegetarian. And we decided, hey, we're going to save up our money and we're going to go hitchhiking. And we're like, yeah, let's do it. So my friend Chancey, myself, and Paul decided, we're going to go to our boss and say, hey, we need to take like a week off. We're going hitchhiking. And they wouldn't give us any time off. So we're like, okay, well, we were really good employees. We had worked there. We did everything we were told. Looking back, wow, I was a really good employee. It was like we were like janitors. Like we did all the work for everybody, and we went above and beyond. And minimum wage back then, we were making $4.25 an hour. It sucked. But anyway, we asked for time off. They didn't give it to us. So we're like, all right, well, here's our 2-week notice. We're leaving. We're going anyway. And we did that. But because we worked there, we were able to rent these nice $300 a night hotels for $30. Between the three of us, that was $10 a piece. So we saved up our money, and then we just one day we went over to my friend Chancey's house. And we decided the next morning, we had backpacks. These were not big backpacks. These were just like a normal little small backpack. We traveled very light. We just had some clothes in there, and I remember we had like pepper spray or something just in case, back then. And I was just so worried, like, because I was like always goody two shoes, so I didn't want to like hitchhike with my thumb. So we decided, we made signs, and my friend Chancey pretty much would just hold it up like this. And this is the actual sign that we made right there. That's the actual sign from our hitchhiking. So we got up that next morning. We have 2 of them because you can never have enough hitchhiking signs right there. So those were my, I kept them for posterity. And we have our signs. And I remember we were leaving his little neighborhood. And we just decided, we're just going to start walking. So we had our backpacks on, and we started walking down the end of his road to like the main road. And as we were walking, one of his neighbors drove by in a pickup truck, and we put up the sign. We're like, hey, we're going south. And he's like, what are you guys doing? We're like, we're going to Florida. And they're like, oh, good luck. Well, we're like, we just want to go as far south as we need to go. And he's like, well, I'll drop you off at the thruway stop. And we're like, okay, cool. So we got in the truck, and he took us to the thruway stop. We went there, and I remember we got breakfast at this is like 25 years ago. We got breakfast, I think, at McDonald's, and we were vegetarian. We got hash browns. I remember we ate hash browns, and then there was another car that kind of stopped for us, and then when we started walking to get in the car, they took off and they went. So we're like, oh, that's not going to work. And then we were thinking about jumping on a train because the trains were, just going by too, but we didn't do that. We ended up getting in another car, and I believe it took us from the Syracuse area to Utica, which is like an hour away from here. This is where it's like I'm trying to remember, because this is where it kind of gets hard, trying to remember all of the people that picked us up. We somehow made it from there to just outside New York City somewhere, probably 45 minutes out from New York City, and the guy dropped us off there. And then another pickup came, and this kid was probably our age or maybe a little bit older, and we got in the pickup with him, and he's like, cool, he's like, I'm heading to a place, we never heard of it back then, but it was like the first one. And he's like, I'm going to Lollapalooza. So you guys are going to be able to come in there with me, and we're like, okay, wherever, we just went wherever anybody took us. So sure enough, we got into Lollapalooza. I remember seeing George Clinton, which is funny because I actually met the drummer all those years later. I met him coming home from an expo about 5 years ago, and I'm friends with him now on Facebook. He sat with me and John on the plane, and George Clinton was up. They were behind us, and the drummer came and sat. He sat with us, so that was pretty fun. But anyways, we ended up seeing the Breeders and Smashing Pumpkins, and for me that was huge because I'm thinking, I'm just a kid from a really small town, and I've heard all these bands on TV, on MTV, and here I am watching Billy Corgan sing Disarm as we're walking out of there. Like, we stayed there. I don't like the big crowds because I was up on the bleachers while like the Breeders were playing, and then my friends were like, okay, Chris, because I held their bags while they were down there, thrashing in the pit and all that stuff. And they're like, okay, it's time to go. So I remember we're leaving, and I'm like looking back, and I'm like, they're Smashing Pumpkins are playing Disarm. I've only heard that on the radio, and they're singing it live. I'm looking at them as they're singing, and I'm like, this is crazy. And it's like, there's and we left. It was like late at night, and I think that's when we first cashed in and got a Marriott, a really nice hotel for $30. So after that, how did we leave there? We walked around Brooklyn. Okay, so yeah, that's the other thing. Back then, my hair was like I had a skater cut, so it was shaved on the sides, but it was kind of longer on the top. Nowhere near as long as my hair is now. But it was dyed red. I had red hair, and I had a hat. And back then I wore my hat backwards, So I pull my hair back, and then I put my hat on. And I wonder if I have a picture around here somewhere of it. But I bought so I forgot something. So right before we got to New York City, somebody else had picked us up. And I remember I had to get in the back of the pickup. And when I did, we took off, and my hat blew off. So I was like, oh my hat's gone. My hair's everywhere now. So I remember buying a hat in Brooklyn. It was like a Brooklyn hat. Yeah, I dyed my hair red with like, I think red henna. So I've had blue hair and I've had red hair. And that was the thing back then. We were skateboarders back in the early 90s, and, we dyed our hair. So, yeah, I had red hair. Hitchhiking. Oh, and these are, I just found them. These are the little journals we made. The first one was a Ramada. The next one, so this is day 4, day 5. Let's see, I kind of didn't keep up with this. My other friend did, but I only did a few days of this because, if I had a camera, I would have filmed it, but I didn't have a camera back then. Or I did, but I didn't bring it with me. Day 5, day 4. So I do have a bunch of these that I could read off, but let me see if this refreshes anything right here. No, that's even further down. It's gonna get more intense, guys. That's all I gotta say about that. Oh, I got She-Ra. She-Ra from, it's like a little decal that I got in a cereal box probably like 30 years ago. Why do I save everything? I don't know. I do. But, Lost Boys. And there's my friend, superimposed. So when we left New York City, I believe, we walked around New York City. I remember we didn't know where we were in New York City. We just kind of like rode the subway around, and I remember falling asleep on the subway, and we literally would go to one end where it would stop, and then it would go back the other way. And I remember falling asleep. I was so tired. I fell asleep on some lady's shoulder. And like my friends were like, "Chris, what are you doing?" But I was out of it. Like she didn't say anything. She let me continue. And we had no idea we had never been to New York City at the time. I do have pictures of my hair, but I don't know where it is. Depends on how detailed. Oh, my brother's in the stream. Let's see. So I'm sorry if I'm missing a lot of the comments because I'm trying to tell the story, but I'll try to glance over and see what I can see. Where was I at? Oh, this is my friend. This is my friend Chancey. Well, at least that's how he looked back then. That's just a photocopy of a picture of him in one of our friend's car. This is long time ago. But that's my good friend Chancey. Oh, I found my... Oh, so maybe... No, it's not here. These are pictures of me from kindergarten all the way to 5th grade. But it's not going to show my hair in that one. So we ended up being in New York City, like... I don't know how to say this. Like, we didn't know where we were going, and we just went in the subway and we got off. I remember specifically, we got off, like, somewhere. We were in Harlem somewhere, and as soon as we got out, this guy came up to us, and he could tell we weren't from around there. He's like, "What are you guys doing?" We're like, we're just walking around. We're just checking the place out. And he's like, No, you need to get back in that subway, and you need to go back down to, like, 100th Street or something. And he's like, "Just trust me. Just do that." And we're like, okay. We did. We went back to 100th Street. We really didn't know what we were doing. We ended up leaving New York City. And, okay, so this is when we didn't get too far after that. We got to, like, New Jersey Turnpike. And we got a hotel there. And I think the next morning, some guy picked us up, and we did some work for him. I forget exactly what we did. We helped him move some things. We did some work, and I think he repaid us by taking us where we needed to go. And then we went to New Jersey Turnpike, and we're at a travel stop there. So obviously we couldn't hitchhike because we're on a turnpike, and the last person dropped us off at the turnpike. So I was incredibly shy back then, so I would not like just go up to somebody, but Chancey, not so much. So Chancey basically just was going up to people saying, "Hey, we are trying to go to Florida." That was our destination, Florida. And can you pick us up? And he was just asking all these different people. And finally, we saw some. They were Muslims, and they were praying. They were doing their prayer to I don't know too much. They were looking whatever direction, and they were doing their prayers. And then he asked them, and they said, a couple of them didn't want anything to do with us. But the one guy, he's like, no, 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 no. This is a good deed done. This is what we should be doing for our fellow, humans. Let's give them a ride. So they're like, well, we're going to Washington, D.C., so if that's okay with you guys, that's as far as we're going. And we're like, yeah, that's more than good. Oh, I forgot to say one thing, too. So my friend Paul, when we were in New York City, Paul said that, he ended up talking to his parents. He got a payphone, because that's all there's no such thing as cell phones back then. So it was like payphone. He talked to his mom and dad and his little brother, and they were worried about him. They were like, we want you to come home. Like, your little brother's so worried. And he basically made a decision. He's like, hey guys, I can't go any further. This is it. This was an adventure for me. We hitchhiked. We slept on the street one night in New York City. Wait a minute. Was that a different trip? I know we slept on the street one night, but maybe it wasn't this. Maybe that was another trip. Anyway, I did sleep on the streets in New York City one night, but I don't think it was this trip. So he made a decision after, going to Lollapalooza and doing whatever hitchhiking we've already done. So this was a couple days in. It took us like a couple days to do all this. He ended up saying, like, I'm going back. I'm going to go back home. And I'm buying a bus ticket and I'm going back home. Because we saved up a little bit of money. And he asked, so my friend Chancey was like, I'm going to Florida no matter what you guys do. He's like, Chris, you coming with me or are you going home? And he's like, Chris, let's just go home. And I was like in the middle. I'm like, do I want to go back home or do I want to go keep doing this adventure? And Chancey's like, let's keep doing it. And Paul's like, we really should go home, dude. And my voice of reason was saying like, yeah, I probably should go home. But my other part of adventure was like, I was like, Paul, have a safe trip home. And we'll hang out when I get back. And I went with Chancey. And so there we are. We're in. They had like a souped up car, and we were like speeding from New Jersey Turnpike all the way back to Washington D.C. They were doing like 110, and they started telling us about Allah. So they're like, well, you don't know about Allah, but we're going to tell you about Allah so you know about Allah. And so they talked all about that, and we were very respectful and listened to them. And I still remember the guy's name that was in the back with us, because when we got there, he had something in his hand and he gave it to us and he's like, here, take this. And it was money. And we're like, no, that's okay. We you've done enough. You don't have to give us any money. And he's like, no. He's like, you need it more than I do. Take this money. And I'm thinking like, he gave us a couple bucks. He gave us $20, which that was a lot back then for one thing. And he didn't need to give us anything. And they gave us a ride. He gave us $20. And I still remember his name to this day. So he takes us to where he lives in Washington, D.C. And then some of his friends exited the car, and then they took us straight up to a hotel, which it was some Marriott hotel, but I remember looking down the street, you could see the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. And I remember it was late at night, and we got out, and we literally both had like two tiny little backpacks. And he made the guy come over, like the bell guy that had like the thing that carries your suitcases and stuff. He had him come over. He's like, help these guys to their room. And we're like, oh no, we only have a backpack. He's like, no, that's cool. Get all the treatment. Get to your room. So they carried our little backpacks for us, like on the room, and we ended up getting a room there. And then, so we got to see DC for a little bit. And then, what happened then? Then, let's see if I'm missing anything here. We went through Delaware. Oh, man. Okay, so we were by the White House, dropped us off at the Marriott. So I ended up looking him up all these years later. This was like 25 years ago. I looked him up and I found him on Facebook. I don't know if he would remember me. I didn't write to him, but like I don't even know what to say. Be like, hey, you helped us out like many years ago. I don't know, but I found him. I found him on there. Okay, so then I'm trying to remember after DC, where do we go? I remember this is where it gets tricky where we went. I remember a lady picked us up and she told us that if we couldn't find a ride and we were still in the same place the following day, she would pick us up again and take us the rest of the way. But we weren't. We never saw her again, but she drove us a little bit. Oh, okay, so we got into like... So Virginia, yes, okay, so this sounds like something out of a movie, but this is true. This really happened. And years later, it meant something more to me than what is this? Oh, wow. I'll save that for the end of the story. New Jersey Transit. So I still have my $4 ticket from the New Jersey to the Marriott airline. Yes. Okay, so we were in Virginia somewhere, and I remember it was a hot day, and we were hitchhiking on the highway, holding up the south sign. Nobody was picking us up, and then a trooper came by and stopped. And he's like, "What are you boys doing?" And we're like, "We're trying to go to Florida." He's like, "Where are you from?" We're like, "We're from Syracuse, New York." "How old are you?" "Oh, 17, 18. "Get in the car." We got in the back of the car, and he proceeds to drive. And he's like, "It's illegal to hitchhike on the highway." And we're like, "Oh, we didn't know." And we didn't know if he was going to take us to jail or whatever. But he got off on the next exit, which was like somewhere near Quantico, Virginia, which meant nothing to me back then. But now, like, that is where the FBI train for special agents. But anyway, so he dropped us off on this exit, which had nothing. There was nothing. The grass was like up to my shoulders, and there was no gas stations, there was no buildings, there was nothing. It was just he let us out, and he said, this is exactly what he said to us. He said, "Be careful. Things happen to people around here. Have a nice day." And then he drove off. And we're like, what do we do? We're not allowed to hitchhike. There's nothing here. Like, did this really just happen? So we were like, what do we do? And like, we waited there for quite a while. And like every half hour, like a bunch of cars would go by. And I believe they were military vehicles that were going by, but I'm not positive. So after sitting there for like an hour or two, this like sports car pulled up. It was more like a Trans Am, loud exhaust. This guy is like, "Hey boy," he's not even wearing a shirt. He's just wearing a pair of shorts. He's not even wearing socks or shoes. He's like, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" We're like, "We're just trying to go south." And he's like, "Oh, get in." So we got in the car, and then he starts driving. We really had no other choice. And he's like, "Yo, give me one of those out of the cooler." And we open the cooler, and there's a bunch of beer. So he's drinking beer as he's driving us. He's like, "You guys want one?" We're like, No, that's cool. And then he drove us as far as he could. And then somebody else picked us up. And I remember, so our deal was, so I never wanted to sit in the front with anybody that picked us up, okay? And then, so we would take turns, whoever picked us up, we would take turns. Like, it's your turn to sit in the front. It's your turn to sit in the front. Because, you never know. But it was cool that we were traveling together. And so now a guy in like a kind of like a broken down station wagon picks us up. It's already really hot summer day in Virginia. And we get in. And the one thing that I noticed as soon as we got in was the heat was on. The heat was blowing, and I was sitting in the front. It was my turn in the front. Chancey's in the back. And I remember his car was started with a screwdriver. There was a screwdriver that started his car. So the one thing is like never lower your guard when you're like in a car with somebody. But I was so hot and the heat was blowing on me and I was so exhausted and I just fell asleep in the front. And nothing happened, but I just remembered that was I woke up and was like, whoa, you know. Kelly, I don't know. I think he still lives in DC. Was the beer vegan? I don't know because I wasn't even vegan back then. So you were listening to Dragon Force. Bam! Dragon Force. Good stuff. Wait, what name were you looking at? Was he a certain ethnicity? Just never heard that name. Are we Wait, who are we talking about? So where was I? So then it's getting harder and harder for us to get rides. I remember kind of like a business guy picked us up and he gave us $2 and so we were like, hey, thank you. There was one that was really sketchy, like these probably in their like mid-20s. They picked us up and they were in like a broken down pickup filled to the brim with just junk in the back, like all kinds of things in the back. And I remember they're like, if you can squeeze in there somewhere, you'll be, you know. So I'm extremely claustrophobic, but back then I wasn't as bad. So I had to squeeze in the back cab of this pickup against like all, and I'm kind of just hanging there like this as we're driving, you know, with all this stuff there. And I remember that wasn't fun, but we really didn't have a choice back then. And then we got dropped off somewhere. I believe it was in, wow. Hold on. Okay, so hold on. I'm getting mixed up in a couple of things here, but it was either Virginia or North Carolina, and we were at. Okay, yeah. So we were at like a convenience store, and it was dark out, and nobody was going to pick us up at that point. And then there was some kids that were getting into like a minivan, and Chancey just was like, hey, we're, you know, what's up? We're hitchhiking and we just need to go south. Is there any way you guys could pick us up? And they were really hesitant. They were scared. Cause you know, you hear a hitchhiker, you're scared, but like, we're like these harmless kids. And we're like, yeah, we're just trying to go south, trying to get somewhere. And they're like, all right. I think they said yes because they were scared of us. So we got in the car and we were driving, but we were like really, really cool. We were like, you know, trying to like convince them that we're harmless. And they brought us back to their house. And I guess their parents weren't home or something. They had a nice house in like a residential area in a cul-de-sac. And we got in there and we were pretty tired. And I remember they gave us some crackers and stuff because we were hungry. And then they're like, oh yeah, so in the morning we can drop you off wherever they were going to drop us off. And they're like, they were very hesitant to a lot of things. They're like, you guys can, you know, we got some sleeping bags. You guys can sleep on the back porch. It's fine because it's like summer and, you know, it's nice. So we're like, yeah, that's more than cool. So we did that. We went to sleep out on the back porch. And then like, seems like an hour or two later, they came out there. And I'm a very light sleeper, so I like woke up right away. But Chancey did not, and like they tapped his shoulder, and he turned around and he looked at him like he didn't know who they were because he's trying to just wake up. And the kid freaked out. He's like, "Oh, don't kill me!" And we're just like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh man, I thought you just looked at me like you were gonna kill me," and blah blah blah, you know. And it was like, no. Like, well, you guys actually can't stay here. And we're like, oh. And they're like, yeah, we're gonna drop you off, somewhere else where you can, keep hitchhiking or whatever. We're like, we were like, okay, like we didn't understand why, but we were like, we didn't really have a choice. We're like, okay, that's fine. They were afraid of us, that we were hitchhikers, and they probably thought that we were on the run and we were fugitives or whatnot. But whatever the case was, they were freaking out, and so they ended up this is like 3-4 in the morning. They ended up dropping us off in the middle of nowhere, like we were like really, they're like, yeah, you can get, this is a crossroads and there's cars that come around here, but obviously there was no cars coming around there now. There's no street lights. It's like pitch black. And they dropped us off here, and what are we supposed to say? Like there's nothing, whatever. So we're sitting out there like, what is going on? So you guys were asking about Chansey. What, I'm not really sure. I think he's part Native American. But yeah, his brother's name is Chauncey. Chansey and Chauncey. I'm trying not to lose my train of thought. So, did I consume a lot of dairy when I was vegetarian? Yes, actually I did. A lot of cheese, and I basically put cheese on everything. Video is not loading. How's everybody else? Is the stream pretty good for everyone, or is it my stream, or is it maybe yours? This should be a high quality stream. Let me know if it's otherwise, because I have good internet. So not too long after that, another car comes by. And it stops. And hi Tabitha, welcome to the stream. We're doing story time. I'm talking. If anybody just started watching, I'm telling the story of when I went hitchhiking with my friend 25 years ago, and we tried to go from upstate New York to Florida. And right now we're in the Virginia, North Carolina area. It's pretty hazy where exactly we were. I think we were somewhere in lower Virginia. So it's like 4 in the morning. We're in the middle of nowhere. It's pitch black out. Remember, this is a time before cell phones. We don't have flashlights on us. The only thing we have is our little can of pepper spray in case something happened to us, and whatever knowledge we both had of ninjutsu for self-defense, if that came to it. Anyway, here we are waiting, and a car kind of goes by and then slows down and then stops and then backs up. And this guy's like, he's like probably in his early to mid-20s. He's like, oh my God, where are you guys coming from? And we're like, upstate. He's like, yeah, but did somebody just drop you off here? And we're like, yeah, it was, and I don't remember the guy's name, but we're like, yeah, it was so-and-so that just dropped us off here. And he's like, no way! And this is exactly, he's saying the F word too. He's like, no effing way! And he's like hitting the steering wheel. He's like, I can't believe it. I was just talking to them, and they just told me that they picked up some hitchhikers and dropped them off, and I'm on my way to work. I work at a radio station, and I'm on my way to work right now. He's like, get in! And so we got in, and he's driving us. He's like, no way! I can't believe this. It's such a coincidence. I can't believe this. I can't wait to tell them this story. And we're just like, okay, like he's kind of going crazy. And he drives us for what seems like maybe 20 minutes or so, and he's like, yeah. But it kind of seemed like he drove us even worse than where we were, because he actually dropped us off. He's like, I got to drop you off here. Basically, we got off, and I don't know if they were messing with us or what, but he dropped us off, and now we were really in the middle of nowhere. I mean, now we're not even near a crossroads. The grass is really tall. You can hear the crickets at night. It was foggy. It looked like a horror movie. And we didn't know where to go. And this is when we really got frustrated. Now, I'm just going to tell you the story how it really happened. And, no hating or anything, because we were frustrated, This is like, I don't know, maybe 5 days into the journey. And we're both standing there in the middle of nowhere with no way to know where we were. I thought I heard some like wolves or coy dogs or whatever in the distance. Kind of, I felt like something was following us. It was literally pitch black, and we were just kind of like looking at each other's silhouette in the dark. And my friend was like, Chancey was like, we're going this way. I'm like, Chancey, I don't think we should go there. I think we should wait until it gets a little bit lighter before we know which way we're going. We're just walking into nothing. We don't know what we're doing. He's like, we're going this way. And I'm like, I don't think we should. And we kind of got in a fight, and he punched me in the face. And I was like, what the heck, dude? I'm like, I could sit here and fight you, but I was the voice of reason. I'm like, I'm not going to fight you because we are in a predicament right now, and that's messed up, and we need to calm down and figure out what we're doing, because here we are with we can't even see where we are. That's how bad it was. When he drove away, we couldn't see in front of us. So we kind of just chilled there for a while until the sun came up. And as the sun started coming up, as dawn broke, it was very foggy. It looked very eerie. And then a guy picked us up. And this guy was really sketchy. Like, I think he had a shotgun in the back, like, window. And he didn't say much. He's just like, get in. And then he drove us. I'm trying to think. We got to a point. I know I'm forgetting something. Oh, okay. So, finally, I know I'm probably forgetting something in there that happened, but we end up in Fayetteville, North Carolina. And so we were trying to hitchhike, and we were like right off of an exit. So we were looking, we could see like a convenience store, gas station, and we were just off the exit trying to get somebody to pick us up. And we waited there for like literally 5 hours or something. Nobody was picking us up anymore. Like, nobody was picking us up. And this is right around the time. Let me just Google it, because my memory serves me right. It was literally right around the same time that this happened in that. Okay. I'm just looking something up real quick. Okay, so this was exactly 1 year before this happened. Hold on, I just need to. I'm just confirming something real quick, so it's not, so I'm not like, have a false memory or something, which is never usually the case, but I'm just making sure. I'm just double checking real quick on something. Bear with me one more second. Okay, yeah, so. All right, so we're in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and this is right around the time and the place that it was all over the news, if you guys remember, a year before, where Michael Jordan, the basketball player, where his dad was murdered, I believe on the side of the road, around where I was. Where is my... Okay, so I look like Jared Leto. I get that a lot. A lot of people say I look like Jared Leto. Okay, so that might have been why nobody was picking us up at this point, but nobody was picking us up. So we walked back up to the convenience store, and we bought some water, or maybe a drink. I don't, there was a thing when bottled water was not a thing. That was like within my lifetime. Like, if you wanted water, you would drink out of the faucet. So maybe we just bought a Snapple at the time. But we couldn't get a ride, and there was this guy there, and like, I don't know how else to describe him, but he was like, he was kind of white trash, and he's like, yeah, come on, and his truck was all broken down, and he was starting it with a screwdriver, and he got really offended by something that Chancey said. Chancey's like, yeah, like we're like, he's like, nobody's. He said something about people around there, like not like wanting to pick us up. Like he's like, yeah, it's like nobody wants to pick us up around here. It's like people aren't as friendly or something. And the guy got really offended. He's like, no, man, we're not like that. We're good. And he brought us to the most rundown motel we've ever been. And we ended up getting a motel there. Like we paid for it, and then we went into the motel, and the bed was crooked. There was cigarette butt burns on the bed. The shower had stains everywhere. It just was like, it was horrible. And I remember we just put our bags there for a second, and we immediately, because the only way we could call anybody, I should rewind to the night before I went hitchhiking real quick. So obviously I'm 18, I'm on my own, I'm able to legally do whatever I want, but I was kind of a little bit sheltered as a kid. And I was a lot bit sheltered as a kid. And so once I graduated high school, and this is why I am a lot like how I am nowadays, because I always did whatever I was told all the time. Do what you're told. That's why I had perfect attendance. Do what I'm told. Do the right thing. When all my friends were out skipping, I stayed in school. Do what I'm told. Do the right thing. So now I'm like, you know what? Now I don't have anyone to answer to. I'm my own boss. I tell myself what to do. I'm old enough to not have to do what my parents tell me to do or whatever. And like, that's how I pretty much rebelled for a little bit. And I wrote a letter to them, and I don't have it here, but my parents have it. And it basically says, Mom and Dad, I'm going for a trip, and I'll end up wherever I end up, and I'll come back whenever I come back, because I had no idea where I was going, and I had no idea when I was coming back, and I just said goodbye. That's all I said in the letter, and my dad saved it, so it's kind of funny, but they had zero ways of getting a hold of me, and I only had one way of getting a hold of them, and that's if I was at somebody's house to use their phone, or if I had a payphone near me, because we didn't have cell phones. So they did not talk to me again for like almost a week. And then the first time I called them was that night. We went over to, now remember, this is before I was vegan. It was a month before I was vegan. And we went over to, pretty much next door to that motel, we went to a Wendy's. And when I went into Wendy's, there was a payphone outside, so I was not only buying some French fries, I was also trying to get some quarters so I could call my mom. And when I was in there, the first thing I heard, I didn't look, but behind me, is I heard somebody say, "Does that Emmer effer have effing red hair?" And I was like, oh no, I had red hair. And now people are blatantly making a deal about it. So I didn't feel safe anymore. So I was like completely on guard. But we went out to the payphone, and I called my mom, and I was like, "Hey Mom, I'm in I don't know where I am. I'm in Fayetteville, North Carolina." And she's like, your aunt and uncle live down there. And this was my great aunt and uncle, so like I wasn't real close with them. She's like, they live down there, and they said, let me call them, and I'll call you back and everything. And they're like, they said they're gonna come pick you up. You need to go with them. I'm like, well, we just got a motel. And then she's like, Chris, go with them. So I was like, okay, fine. So we went back to the motel. This has only been like 10 minutes. So I went back to the motel, and I told the guy, I'm like, there's the sheets are, there's cigarette burns in the bed. There's stains on everything. Like, can we just, we're not going to stay here. Can we just get our money back? And another scene from a movie that I swear this happened. He basically said, put the keys under the glass. So I put the keys under the glass, and he reaches them, and he just jumps back, and he grabs from under the thing a shotgun. He doesn't point it at us. He just grabs it in his hands. And he's like, I don't ever want you here again. Don't you ever come here again. Don't you ever try to stay here again. And we're like, we don't want to stay here again, you know. And he gave us I think it was like $30. He gave us our $30 or $40 back. And we just left. And my aunt and uncle came. And they picked us up. And we went back to their house. And my little cousin was there. He was a little kid at the time. And he had a skateboard. So we showed him how to skate. And then I saw him again. Probably like 7 years ago. He's all grown up. I think he's got kids now. I don't really know him at all. That's the only interaction I ever had with him. But yeah. So at that point, my mom said, I do not want you to hitchhike anymore. And I'm like, well, that's what we're doing. She's like, if you're going to Florida, I'm going to buy you a bus ticket. And she bought us both a bus ticket. She also bought us a plane ride home from Florida. And now I knew my mom and dad, they didn't have money, so I didn't want to take it. But they insisted. They bought me a plane ticket. That's the first time I had ever in my life been on a plane. But we're not there yet. We're on the Greyhound line. So let's find out when this was. Okay, so I left on this adventure on the 5th. And I ended up going from Fayetteville, North Carolina to Tampa, Florida on August 12th, 1994. So that's like a week. That was a week in between the day that we left to the day that we had to throw the towel in and not hitchhike. We did a really good job, I think. We never hitchhiking before. We made it to North Carolina, and that was it. What happened there? Did something happen with the lights? I feel like something just changed. Anyway. Oh. It's like the night saver came on. It's weird. I don't like it. I'm going to try to turn it off real quick. Display. So, yeah. So that was a week on our own right there. Greyhound. And that, let me tell you, that bus ride sucked. It was hot and we were on a bus. I mean, we went from having like a crazy adventure to being on a bus for the next, I don't even know. Like, let's find out how long that bus ride was. My mom really, she's like, you know what? This is what you get. You're going to ride a bus. Here I am saying, like, I'll do what I want. But, you know, we weren't getting anybody that was, nobody was picking us up anyway. Oh, wow. This bus ride was like 8 hours. That sucked. 8-hour bus ride. Night vision off. Okay, there we go. And, oh, it looks better for me now. Now I can ruin my eyes. Are you guys still with me? Am I boring you? Like, give me some feedback here. Oh, this definitely was before Uber. This is 1994. And these are my actual notes. Let's see. This is probably day 5, August 9th, Tuesday. Delaware. We arrived in Washington, D.C. They took us to the Capitol, the White House, dropped us off at the Marriott. I never forgot his name either. His name was Shahid. I think I need to message him and just be like, hey, I don't know if you remember me. Let's see. Walked. A guy in a pickup truck brought us to work with him. Oh, he gave us $20 each. And then he brought us to the New Jersey Turnpike. So that was a little bit out of order. I said it happened afterwards, but it happened before. So right before we met Shahid, we were playing Mortal Kombat 2 at the Travel Plaza. And then they took us to Washington, D.C. We woke up from the Marriott. Okay, so this is something that my mom makes fun of me today, because I called her. I think I called her. So I did call her in between there. I called her when I was in Newark, New Jersey, and I had never been there before. I'd never heard of it before. And my mom's like, "Where are you? Where are you?" I'm like, "We're in Newark, New Jersey." So she's like, "Hey, Chris, are you in Newark?" "Yeah, Mom, I'm in Newark, New Jersey." They dropped us off at an Exxon station in Linden, New Jersey. Then we walked for about 3 hours. We did a lot of walking on this trip because people didn't always pick us up. So when we weren't being picked up and we weren't like in a place where we couldn't hitchhike, we were walking. Newark. Yeah, I know. That's why my mom bought us a ticket. She didn't want us to. We didn't know what we were doing. This was our first experience outside our small little town. We were so naive. We didn't know what we were doing. So I'm kind of surprised we made it as far as we did. Let's see. Okay, so moving on. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, Shahid gave me his, I actually have his address. He gave me his address. I won't tell you the exact address, but it was 1st Street, Southwest, D.C. He gave us his address. He also gave us $20. And here's our ticket to Tampa. What's this say? This is not my handwriting. This must be 90 to West Virginia. Go to the airport, get the ticket from Tampa to LaGuardia. So that must have been my mom like nervously writing that down to get us a plane ticket home. Oh, there's a Valentine's letter from my grandma. She's not with us. So anyway, so that awesome adventure, we end up in Florida, and we stayed at my friend Chancey's grandma's house. And so we went from this crazy adventure to we were in like a retirement home neighborhood. And nothing happened there. Like there was no Ubers. We didn't go around. We stayed there. And it was very boring for the next few days. And then we flew home, and that was cool, flying in a plane for the first time ever. I remember the plane going to get to the runway, and we're going, and I'm like, there's no way we're going to get off the ground going this fast. I don't understand. How is this going to happen? And then all of a sudden the thrusters kicked in, and I was like, whoa, yep, that was the first time, probably everybody's first experience on a plane. And that's how it was. So we got home, and that was a crazy adventure. So yeah, we got through that. I'm sure there's other things I forgot to talk about during that adventure, but I could probably write a book about it. But I just told it to you guys, so now you can write a book about it. I was 18 years old. I had just graduated from high school. And then a month later, I went vegan. So that was 25 years ago, this month. I wasn't mad when he punched me. I was more like, I need to keep this together because I was 18. I need to keep this together because I'm the voice of reason now. I'm the one thinking logically, whereas he's just snapping. So that's, I wasn't so mad at that. I was more like frustrated, because it could have got really bad, and like we're both out in the middle of nowhere, like with no way to call anybody or to do anything. Like it could have got bad, but it didn't. It was a crazy adventure. I would probably never do that again. But the time was right. Everything was perfect. So, any questions on that? Did you guys enjoy the story? Yeah, hitchhiking. Yeah, Rebecca, there was a lot of hitchhiking crimes. People weren't picking up hitchhikers. I personally was always told all my life is never hitchhike, and also don't pick any hitchhikers up. Vegan makeup shirt. Hey, Crystal. Just told some stories back in the day. Did I wear the same clothes the whole trip? No, I think I wore the same pants or shorts most of the trip. So, I think we did have a map with us, but I do remember that. So Chancey's uncle told, before we went over to Chancey's uncle's house, and he told us where to hide our money. So we both had like, I mean, at the time, this was the most money I had ever had, really, because, like we worked all summer. I mean, it's not the most, but it's one of the, I had like $350 on me. So to me, I was like, that's a lot of money. So like, if I do get stranded, like it was like a safety net for me. Like, I'm like, if I get stranded or something, I have enough money to like get home if I need to, or, like if things go bad. And I don't want anybody to steal my money because I know we could get mugged. And we had like, back in the day, like, skateboarders, like we had, wallets connected to the wallet chain. So his uncle gave us a piece of advice to do this. And I never did it again, but we did it then. So here's what we did. We took the majority of our money from our last paycheck before we ended up quitting our job. And which for me, it was like $350. And then we took about $40 and we put $40 like in our wallet, so we had a little bit of pocket change, but in case we got held up and robbed or something. So what he told us to do, and I don't think I have any clothes in here, but the jeans that we had, the inside of the jeans where the buttons and the zipper are, it's double, like there's double the material there, and it's stitched like this. It'd probably be easier for me to actually show you, but he said, make a small slit right there in the inside of your pants. So that's what we did. We cut a small slit, and then we took our $300 and we rolled it up really tight, and then we put it down there. So if we were ever robbed or mugged or whatever, they got our wallets, we still had that money hidden on us. And there's no way anybody's going to find that money hidden there. They can rummage through your pockets, they can go through your socks and shoes, but they're not going to find that. So we did that just in case, but it never came to it. So heelsy shoes? No. Okay, so Carrie says that she was late. So for all of you that are late, I just told the story about how I went hitchhiking to Florida from New York when I graduated high school. So I'm not going to say it again because it took me an hour and a half to tell that story. But if you guys want to see it again and you're just joining us, wait until this is posted and you can rewatch it. And by the way, I'm just going to say this again. I'm really excited for my background. It looks a lot better, There we go. We have another color there. Why does it blow my face out when I do any other color besides blue? Or is it just, yeah, see? If it's blue, it's okay. Oh, that's just white? This was definitely worth it. This light strip was only like 10, 15 bucks actually. 15 bucks on Amazon. I like the dark blue. Wait, I like. Yeah, I like. You can't really tell the difference. I like that color. Hour and a half. We've been on here for an hour and a half. Did it not seem like that? I look like. Yeah, I know. I know. Let's see if I can fix that. Whoa. What did I do there? Oh, there it is. So, yeah, that's too much, I think. Is that a little better? Maybe? I still got to mess with it a little bit, but I think this is a lot better than my normal streams. Tabitha, what is your question? It didn't seem like an hour and a half. You're good. Well, thank you. I like to tell stories. Did I eat Taco Bell when I first became vegan? I was actually in Taco Bell the day that I went vegan. And yeah, Taco Bell has always had a bunch of vegan things, but I haven't eaten a Taco Bell in probably maybe 10 years or so. I just, it's not the best. My brother, though, my brother always eats a Taco Bell. I think you look like the vegan zombie more. Thanks. That's what I'm kind of going for. That vegan zombie vibe. I want to like, when I go live, I want people to like recognize the background instead of like, you know, how it has been. And I know it hasn't been too visually appealing in the last few that I've done, but I got rid of that other webcam. Well, I didn't get rid of it, but I'm using my good cam right now. Is Leto vegan? Yeah, that's questionable because he's done interviews where he said that he's vegan and for all the right reasons and good reasons for it. But then he's done other interviews where he said he was a chegan, and I don't know if he was joking around there or not. But you know, if he's promoting veganism to his followers, that's great. But I've only seen a couple interviews where he's actually done that. But who knows? I know that when he, like, I think I said this in another video, but when he was when he played, what's his name again? Mark David Chapman, the guy that shot John Lennon. He had to gain weight, and he talks about gaining weight, and he said he would just eat Ben and Jerry's, and this is long before Ben and Jerry's had vegan ice cream. So put it on multicolor. I'm not sure how to do that. I just turned this on before I went live today, but I think this is too much. That's too much. There's all kinds of settings that I don't know about yet. There's one that looks like it's breathing. If it would just do that and not go fast, I might. If it was gradual, that might be cool, but I don't like the fast blinking. We don't need seizures or anything here. I'm not trying to give anyone a siege. I still gotta figure this out, play around with it a little bit, because I'm really blown out there. So I think right now all I can do is the blue or the perp. Blue or the perp. There we go. For now. Oh man. The Scarlet makes you mad. Yeah, I guess I could do that. You missed the first 61 minutes. Those were the best minutes. What else is vegan besides ramen noodles? Ramen noodles aren't bad, by the way. Ramen noodles are pretty good. And I like how the vegan top ramen, they no longer put MSG in it, so that's good. Let's see, rice, lentils, chickpeas. I do a lot of videos showing you guys like vegan on a budget, so I would definitely recommend checking those videos out, where I go shopping for $30 a week. And you can even do it better than that too. So yeah, if you get some of the staples, you can, and also food prepping. If you just buy a bunch of bulk things, and you can put together meals for your entire week, or the next 3 to 5 days, and that'll definitely save you money right there too. But that's another story I have. Like when I it seems like when I went hitchhiking, I hitchhiked to Florida, and then a year later I was with a couple different friends, and I remember we drove down to Florida, a different part of Florida. I just kept going to Florida. And then after that, I had friends that moved to Florida, and they kept telling me, come down here and move down here. So finally, like a year after I graduated high school, I moved to Florida. So that was the first time living on my own. Hold on one second. So you guys cannot see me anymore, but you guys can hear me because my battery died in my camera. So let me fix that real quick. There we go. So I still need to buy a dummy battery. That's not a dumb battery. It's just a battery that won't happen again. Okay. So yeah, I moved to Florida when I was 19, to Sarasota, Florida. And so basically I saved up all the money I had from my last job, which was working at an arcade here in Syracuse. And then, you know what? Maybe if I turn this down, maybe it'd be less. That better? Yeah, that's better. And then what I did, okay, so this is kind of funny. So there's a casino opened up near where I live when I was 18. Okay, so I went there, and I told myself, okay, so I saved up all this money from where I work, and my friends want me to move to Florida, so I'm gonna go to the casino, and if I lose all my money, I'm not going to Florida. But if I make money, I'm going to Florida. So I went there to the casino, and I ended up almost doubling my money, and I said, okay, I'm moving to Florida. So I moved to Florida, got an apartment with my friend, and like this is probably and this is I'm telling this story because people ask, like, how can you be vegan for cheap? Because this is probably one of the poorest I've ever been. And so we shared, I think at one point we had 3 people sharing one bedroom. And we lived with this other guy that we just met down there that was renting out an extra room. And that's when I learned that I had to be very frugal, and I got a job right when I got down there. And I think I talked about this before too. I got a job as a garbage man, waste management, and that job sucked. But I just talked about that, I think, in my last live stream, where I almost got ran over by the dump truck. Anyway, I worked there for a good 2 weeks, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore, because literally you would get up in the morning when it was dark out, and you would get home when it was dark out, and you would work every single day, and you would have one day off, Sunday. And on that day off, I couldn't even do anything because I just had to sleep and catch up on my sleep. And I literally worked there for 2 weeks. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So I went and I found another job. And the next job I found was about a mile from where I lived at my apartment. And my roommate had a motorcycle, so he would ride me down. I would ride on his motorcycle with him to work sometimes, but he wasn't always there because sometimes he was working himself. So other days I would just walk that mile to work, and then when I got out of work, I would walk that mile home. And I think there was a Goodwill right next to where I worked, and I ended up buying like a 10-speed there for like $10 or something, and it was a broken down 10-speed. It barely worked, but that was, I rode the bike now back to my apartment to work, to apartment to work. And after a few paychecks, there was a neighbor across the street that was selling a car. It was a 280Z, 1980 280Z. And I bought that, and we talked him down because my friend is like a mechanic and stuff, and we talked him down from like $1,200 to like $600. So I bought the car for $600. So it was a pretty good buy, and so now I had a car. And all this time when I was dirt poor, like it didn't even cross my mind that I couldn't be vegan, because I would still go grocery shop, and I just knew like, oh, I only have this much money to spend. What am I gonna, and I like, back then, ramen noodles, rice, pasta. We made a lot of pasta, and back then we were making, because there was no vegan cheese on the market at all. We made our own like little macaroni and cheese recipe with like nutritional yeast and garlic and all kinds of stuff. We just were creative, and we made it happen. So as poor as I have ever been, I still was able to, to live on my own and remain vegan the whole time. And then I lived in New York City later on. I lived there going to school, and I did it on my own. Like my parents didn't help me pay for any school or anything. Like I used student loans and credit cards, and even then, like I tried not to do it too much. So I never had like huge credit card debt or anything. But living in New York City is expensive, and I did it for about 2.5 years. And that entire time too, I remained vegan. So it's definitely doable. You just, if you're, you got to eat, so you got to buy something, and you're going to find something that's vegan and cheap, where like you don't have to default to eating animal products, is what I'm trying to say. You don't say like, I need to eat, I have no money, but I need to eat, so you're going to make something happen, right? Well, just make whatever happens be non-animal foods, and it's definitely doable. So so back in the day, Tabitha says, I've done that, but it gives me heartburn. So yeah, you just got to kind of tweak your diet for what works for you. And I get that. Like when I first went vegan, like I say this a lot, for like the first 17, 18 years, I was a junk food vegan. Like nowadays people are like so concerned about like the health aspects of it and everything. And like I never had any kind of detriments to my health for what I ate. But I do try to eat a lot healthier today. Nissan is the vegan top ramen. Marijuana is not, so don't get that mixed up. There's a vegan one and a non-vegan one. So the top ramen is the vegan one, and it's the blue package, and there's a couple other ones that are vegan too, but where I live, it's pretty much only the blue one. PBJ too, yeah. You got that one right. FTWBK. PBJ. Sometimes I just had a PBJ the other night because I was craving it. On some nice Heidelberg bread, some nice organic peanut butter. Only 2 ingredients, peanuts and salt. Or you can make your own. There you go, Carrie. Oatmeal, rice and veggies, that's all cheap. I just filmed a what I eat in a day video yesterday. because I know you guys seem to like that, so it's very similar to what I had. Weave Magic. I liked your Facebook page today. Oatmeal and bananas. Yeah, I don't know if you saw my like bargain grocery shopping, but I was able to buy, and I don't do this all. I can't find the deal all the time, but it's like the second or third time I was able to find 40 pounds of bananas for very cheap. The first time it was like $5, and the last time it was $10. And I bought that like over a month ago, and I still have. I'm down to the last of them, but I still have some in the freezer for my smoothies. Yeah, the nutso. I have that right here actually, and I'm looking forward to making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich with that. But I'm out of bread. Oh, can you guys hear me all right? The microphone's way over here. Black beans and rice is good. You know what I used to do? There was like this black beans of rice, and then there was these. I don't know if I think that the brand might not be vegan anymore, but at the time, what I would do, these like little rice packets. I don't remember the company, but there was red ones and yellow ones. There was Spanish rice, and then like red beans and or red beans and rice and black beans and rice. What I would do, and this was really good, is I would make that rice, and right before like you get it boiling in the water and stuff, and then I would have Smart Dogs, like the vegan hot dogs, and right before you put it on simmer, when you put the lid on, I would throw a couple of those dogs in there, put the lid on, and I would just let it cook like that. And when it was done, I'd have 2 delicious vegan hot dogs with the rice, with all the flavors mixed together, and that was like a meal for me, like when I was living in Florida. Chris Otto. I don't actually eat that much bread, but I have my sourdough starter, so I can make. I haven't made it in a little bit, but I can make it any day I want. I could go make it right now. No egg Craig, thank you, man. I got the light strip and everything. I'm really trying to get this stream looking good because I want to stream more. I just noticed, is my audio okay, or am I not synced? I want this to be perfect because I noticed last one my voice was not synced by like a split second. So if it's like that, let me know, because I need to fix it. To me, it looks like it's messed up. Craig, are you still in this chat? All this talk, everybody, this is making me kind of hungry too. I had some pizza earlier. I used that flatbread, the flatbread Brooklyn. It's all vegan pizza flatbread. It's really good. Okay, so audio is perfect. Okay, it's not showing up for me as perfect. But it's nice to know that it is. And I used some Miyoko's cheese and some basil. Super good. You sound like God to me. Like, how does God sound? Okay, dude. I'm liking it. Craig, the only thing I'm using of yours is the cable. The one cable from the camera. I didn't even use the HDMI, just the other one. So I need to, and I bought the. What do you guys? Craig, you like these? The lights I got? I picked them up for like $15. Bam. Yeah? Cindy, yes. I know I've been saying that forever, but yes, I am going to do that. Creepy close-up. Sorry about that. I'll stay back here. Is this far enough away? We're almost at 2 hours, guys. I've been trying to get this all set up for streaming on Twitch. A vegan bake sale for the sanctuary. Cool. Where's that located? Rosette? Thanks for the compliment on the lights. Is it Rosette or Rosé? The Son of God. I don't believe so. It's slightly off. Yeah, I thought it was too. Well, if I'm looking over on my OBS, it looks a little bit off to me. Just a little bit. ASMR. Yeah, actually ASMR done right, like it puts me in a trance. I love it. Even before it was a thing, I like that. New Brunswick, Canada, not Jersey. Okay, Rosette with the T. Okay, so does this look like a real X-Files stream? I got the X-Files shirt. The vegan vampire. So I'm excited now. Like tomorrow is the first day of September. And it's like fall weather now up here. It's a bit off. Craig, how do I fix it again? Let's try to fix it. Which one do I... On the settings. Oh, wait, Craig's texting me. What's he saying? Let's see. That's funny, Joseph, that you're just asking if there will be another vegan house, because I was just looking at a video that I filmed there with Brian, and I think I'm going to put, because I haven't posted it yet. It's a video not released yet, so I think I'm going to post it. I don't know. I really hope there's going to be another vegan house, but I haven't heard anything so far about there being one. Looks professional, but in a fun way. I like it too. I like that. It looks way better than my old videos. And I know that we're only cropping right here, but if you guys could see above, I got a nice Creature from the Black Lagoon poster above my head. And I also put the sound foam up, so it really looks cool. Craig and Chris have secrets. What kind of secrets? I'm sure we do, right? Craig? Craig and me and some others. Craig's friend Josh and his sister. I think that's it. We're all going to do a secret video eating challenge next week. It's going to be fun. I won't say anything more. Well, as you guys can see, when I have a story to tell, I can talk forever. But then when I'm out of stories and I don't know what to talk about, I need your guys' input. What do you guys want to talk about? Is there anything else? Or should we end the stream? I said my piece. I told the story I wanted to, that I promised you I would tell. And so now we need to do a video, at least here on the live stream, where I show you guys, as promised, all of my vegan t-shirts from Vegan Tea Thursday, which that's going to be exciting, but I hope it doesn't get too boring, because here's this shirt, here's this shirt. I mean, I have a lot of shirts, but if that's what you guys want to see, we can do it. It'll be posted on the deep web. I like that. Holly, thank you. The pups are not in here. They are probably out in the hallway or downstairs. Talk about the dark web. It's really dark and it's sticky like a spider's web. There's not really too much else to say about it. It's dangerous. And I also heard that There's like 90% more out there than what we can actually see on the internet. So everything we can see on the internet, there's like 90% out there or more in the dark web that we're not able to see. That's like you really got to dig to find. Yeah, Holly, definitely go check it out later. So basically on this, I started out with a story about how I really told it from the beginning about how I almost died and my friend saved my life. And then we go into when I graduated high school, my story about how I hitchhiked to Florida, or at least tried. It's a long story. Took about an hour and a half. My dad, does he have lots of stories? You really gotta pick his brain for him to tell them. So vegan files. Yeah, I might have a short story about each shirt if I can remember all of them where they came from. My room looks like a vampire's lair. You should have seen my room when I was like 17, 18. It really was a vampire's lair. I was like obsessed. It's funny because I have, right, you can't see them, but one of you guys, I don't know if you're watching right now, but somebody sent me Dracula. Dracula is my favorite horror movie, Bram Stoker's Dracula. Dracula cards. They're really, really awesome. I put them on the... And again, if you're watching, thank you again because those are awesome. Do I like popcorn? I guess it's okay, but it's not like I don't eat popcorn often. So, do I like spicy food? No, I don't. I'm a wimp when it comes to spicy food. As spicy as I like to get is like Frank's Red Hot. I don't like it to be spicier than that. My dad has strong genes. I hope so. I almost died myself. It's interesting. I had an out-of-body experience. Never thought that was a thing. Yeah, it's crazy. I've had a few of them, but yeah, you can check out the story if you want to go back and watch it again. Maybe it's similar. Maybe I can tell my other ones on another day. Hey, Craig, are you still there? If you are, when are we going camping? Are we still doing that? I have one right there. It lights up, but I feel when it lights up, you can't really see it because it's too bright. But that says the vegan zombie. And it lights up. I already said it twice. Tabitha, my uncle was like that. The one that just passed away last week. He was born in 1936, and he had the best stories ever. You and your brother look a lot like your dad. Which brother? I've got two of them. I should wear a glow-in-the-dark shirt next time I go I'm not going hitchhiking again. Or could I do that? Would that be like a good... I don't think that would really get you too far these days. I don't think many people would pick you up hitchhiking. But that might be a good video. That probably would get a lot of views. I go hitchhiking for the first time in 25 years. What happens when a zombie goes hitchhiking? Did your video get positive feedback on the main channel? Which video? Camping. I love camping too, but I haven't gone in like 2 years. Exactly, Holly. Yeah. I was a little bit too late on some of them. My grandma was born in 1912, and I never really cared to ask her anything until Until I wasn't really old enough, you know? Like, I didn't care when I was really young. And when I started asking, I feel like I feel like it was too late. And then my grandpa, it was definitely too late when I asked him some things, because he had some crazy stories. He was in the Korean War, but he had Alzheimer's, and I was trying to talk to him, and I couldn't. My brother with the fancy car, that's Pat. And he just finished his video that we promised that he was going to post for his channel. And just to reiterate, I just edited my other brother's first video for Katie. So Katie's channel is going to be called, thanks to one of you guys, Katie Needs a Napkin. And I edited the first video. I think it came out, I think it's really funny. So you can search for that on YouTube, Katie Needs a Napkin. Don't go hitchhiking. I won't. I already did that. Oh, the video I reposted. No, actually, it didn't. It's actually I think it's my least viewed video on the main channel. I don't understand it, but vegan campout, yeah. My neighbor was in World War II, and really nice guy. He'd always come over and talk to me, and I really wanted. I even asked him, I'm like, hey, I make videos. I would love to interview, but he didn't want me to do that. So he told me some stories, but it's only here. Wasn't able to. I would love to do something like that and film it, because I think that's important. Okay, so I don't know if any of you guys saw this, but it was a video that was recommended to me recently, and it was a video of whoever was filming. They were interviewing old people, and this video was filmed in 1929. So they were filming people that were born in 1829, which really is crazy, because when you think about that, I'm sitting there, and the quality was really good. So I'm sitting there listening to somebody talk that was around before the Civil War, that was around when Abraham Lincoln was around, that had come in contact in his life with people that were born in the 1700s. It's crazy. It's so crazy. And just think about that. Somebody that was born in 1829 now has their voice all over the internet. People watching this. It's crazy. So it's like the closest we have to like a time machine that we know of. Katie Needs a Napkin is the name of the channel, thanks to Marina, who I don't think she's on right now because she lives in Russia, which is really late over there right now. Yeah, I love the Halloween shopping hauls, and I did one of those a couple years ago. Maybe I'll do another one. I believe you're right, Produce. I believe that YouTube is working against me. My videos are not doing well in the algorithm, and my channel is taking a toll. And I've done a lot of research on it, and I really don't know what to do. In the grand scheme of things, like, I mean, if you think about it, like, if a video of mine, like the one that I just posted, only got like 1,700 views, you think about that's 1,700 people that watch it. That's a lot of people. You shouldn't be complaining. But relative to how many subscribers I have, working really hard for the past 10 years, I have 172,000 followers. So that means less than 1% of my followers are getting notifications that I even post videos. And the algorithm is not picking my videos up. So, what does that do? It makes content creators like myself think that nobody likes my content, that nobody wants to watch what I'm making. So what do? Like, I don't know what to do anymore. A lot of people have told me, like, you used to do so many cooking videos and that's what I loved, and you don't do them anymore. But when I do them, they don't get any views. Like, they're like the least viewed videos, and they're like the most time consuming. The hardest work that I put in videos is those. So I'm kind of at a loss, what to do, because this is something that I love and something that I've, it's scary because, when I started this, it was never like a career. It was a fun thing to do. And my main job literally paid for everything. Like, I spent the majority of my money that I made as a special investigator, putting it into the Vegan Zombie channel. Like, I spent a lot of money doing that. And it wasn't only until about 3 years ago that I was able to go full time and not do the other job anymore and do this full time, which is amazing. But now it's like, it's hard because nobody watches the video. Then it's like a failure. It's like, what's going wrong? Like, I need to fix this. I need to find out why this is, and this isn't sustainable, and all those things that go along with it. So I'm kind of stuck there now where I do this, full time. This is my full time thing, and I put a lot of my time. Like, when you think like, oh, if I'm able to do my own job where I'm my own boss and on my own terms and everything, like, that would be amazing. But the thing is now that I am that, I work more than I've ever worked in my life. And I'm not complaining because I love it. But whereas, the other jobs I've had, when I'm not working, I'm not working. But this, I find myself working every day. And there's ups and downs to all of that, And I just found that anything I do, I find work in it, Like, but that's what I love. If there's no such thing as a vacation, because if I go somewhere, it's like, all right, I'm going to make some videos on this and that. Like, there's never a time that I just put down the camera and I don't make content, So, and when I'm not filming, I'm editing, or I'm trying to improve something or come up with ideas or something. So, have I talked to my manager? I don't have a manager. I'm it. This is it. I talk to other YouTubers. I bounce ideas off of them. Me and Craig have talked about a lot. And there's no support line that you can call up. Hey, YouTube, I got some questions. Nobody knows. This is all a crazy algorithm, And right now, my channel is, I feel like, at the bottom of that algorithm. And I don't know if it's, I've got a lot of theories. Is it because my channel is so old? I've had this channel for over a decade, and maybe it's not, the algorithm is not supporting it for that reason. It's like, we want other channels that are new to be lifted up and stuff. Like, if you look at my older videos, most of them are like 100,000 views and more. And then my last video only got like 1,700. So it's like, that's a huge difference. Huge. And some people don't even get notifications when I post a video, even when they are subscribed. So if I feel like if somebody doesn't watch the last couple of videos I put out, it says, okay, we're not going to give you any more notifications, even though you're signed up for them. I've literally felt like I've tried just about everything. Like, I'm always coming up with new ideas, and I'm like, oh, you know what? This next video I got, there's no way it's not going to be popular because people are going to love this. Nope. It doesn't. I don't know. Clamps. But that's the thing. Like, I just want people to know, like, I'm not, like, I have been, keep on going kind of attitude for the past decade. That's longer than most people have had YouTube channels, at least active channels where they're making content. I know a lot of people have, YouTube channels where they first signed up, but maybe they don't make content. I've been making content for over 10 years on this channel. Well, on the Vegan Zombie channel. So I don't know if that's why. I love doing collabs. I'm always collabing with people. Always willing to do collabs. I love this weave magic. I love doing like the whole zombie theme too, and I love that. But it doesn't seem like people want that on this channel. Even though this was like supposed to be like a zombie horror related thing. Anytime I post something that's horror related and not food related, it's like the worst, like no interaction whatsoever. And it also is like that. Like if I'm on my Instagram account, like if I'm like, oh, check out this zombie movie, boom, nothing. But I post something about food, and that usually does a little better. And I love doing these too, like the live streams where we just talk. We could talk about anything, really. That's why I wanted to do more of the Twitch, but I need people to come over to Twitch and watch me there. And I just want to be more like completely uncensored. I want to be able to say whatever I want to say, which I definitely censor myself when I'm on the Vegan Zombie channel, because I know that younger kids watch this, which doesn't really mean anything these days, because I think most younger kids have a vocabulary that is a lot worse than I had when I was younger. I'm trying to get through all these. Yeah, so if you notice and you went back and you watch all my old videos, it's a lot different than it is today. But that's what happens. Like channels, they grow and they change. Like if you watch some of these other YouTubers, most of them are different than they were when they started. My second channel does not do well at all. In fact, it does very, very poorly. At one point, it was, my most viewed video is actually on this channel. But of course, YouTube had to step in and ruin that for me too. So my most viewed video, I filmed it, but I'm not actually in it. Most of you probably recognize it, but not know that I'm the one that filmed it. It's Gary Yourofsky's Best Speech You'll Ever Hear video. I filmed that in at a community college in Harlem, New York, 4 or 5 years ago, and that got a lot of views. And then YouTube recently came in and said, we are going to age restrict this. And I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Why are you going to do that? There's nothing bad in this video. Everything in this video is educational, it's factual. And they're like, no, we understand that everything is educational and factual, but we're still going to age restrict it. And that's probably because it shows like what really happens in a slaughterhouse, which is, it's sad that they're going to restrict that. And what does that mean? Yeah, obviously it means that you have to be 18 or above to watch it. But what that also means is it no longer trends. That video will never be recommended to anybody. So essentially the views on that video stop. So that's a very good video for people to watch. It's turned a lot of people vegan. And now the only way you're going to see it is if you search for it and then say click that you are 18 or above. So yeah, YouTube did that for me. And then years before that, so yeah, I do have one video that has more views than that. It's like 750,000 of views. And it was for a contest for a movie, and it actually won. And I had to make a possession video. And I made a possession video, and this is back in like 2010 or 11. And I made it so good that a lot of people, obviously most people know that it's fake, but there's a lot of people that didn't know it was fake. It looked so real that people thought it was real. And it got 750,000 views. It's my most viewed video. And 1 month after so that would have translated to like decent earnings as far as YouTube AdSense goes. But it was also age restricted. Even though I went and I said, look, people are making all kinds of videos out there. There's nothing wrong with this video. Obviously, it's not real. It's fake. It was like, it was a project we did. it's just showing, filmmaking and special effects, visual effects. That's all I was trying to learn in the video. There's no reason to age restrict it. There's people out there like doing worse videos that aren't age restricted that are throwing the F-bomb here and left and right, but they age restricted that video, and what happened? Immediately all views stopped, and that's been like that for like the last 9 years. So think about that. How many views would that video have now if it was never age restricted? Probably millions, because it got 750,000 in like a month. So anytime I did well on YouTube stepped in and stopped me. So it's kind of frustrating. I do want to go to Twitch. I do want to start doing Twitch and YouTube though, but like I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing YouTube unless YouTube completely changes. Effervescent, welcome to the live stream. Right now we're just doing some Q&A and just kind of chatting, but earlier on I told a very long story about how I went hitchhiking to Florida from New York when I graduated high school. So it's a very interesting story if you want to go back and listen to that. I should sing. I've never been a singer. I wonder if I could sing. Earthly United and Joey Carbstrong. Yeah. Well, I haven't heard from him since, but when James Aspie first started out, when he took that vow of silence, he reached out to me to help promote him, and I did. And now he's like, everybody knows him now. So he did the vow of silence for a year for the animals. Hey, Sarah, Jane. What is Twitch? Twitch is just another platform. Most people go on Twitch for like video gaming and stuff, but it's more than that. It's like it's basically to hang out with the personality that you like to watch. So I would go on there, and the game that I normally play when I go on is World of Warcraft, but it's not really to watch the game. It's to interact and just kind of hang out and talk about whatever. So it's just Twitch. And if you guys go over and support me over there, that'd be awesome. And I'll start doing that more. I just wanted to get the stream looking good, and I need to get my Twitch account, because my Twitch account is like very, like, I literally only get like 2 or 3 people watching me. It's kind of not really a thing yet. It's the second video that pops up. That's cool. I also have a follow-up to that. So not only did I film him do the best speech ever, but I also filmed him do his Q&A after, which was really good, because people have questions after hearing a speech like that. And you guys want to hear these tough questions that they have and how he responds. Don't worry, Cindy. I'm not going to stop doing YouTube. I love YouTube, even though I'm kind of, sounds like maybe I'm complaining a little bit. I still love YouTube. I've loved making videos since before YouTube was a thing. Since before the internet was a thing, I was making videos. Maybe I should show you guys those videos someday. They're not that good, but I would edit videos with 2 VCRs on top, stop, play, pause, record, bump, and that's how I made videos, and it was fun. And then my other story was when I was 16. When I turned 16, everybody was buying cars, and instead of buying a car, I bought a camcorder. And my same friend Chancey, he bought a car, and we drove around, and I filmed everything. And you might be asking, like, what? Why can't you just film? Well, because I'm old, and when I was 16, there was no such thing as cell phones with cameras on them. If you wanted to film something, you needed to buy a camcorder. So, yep. That was like almost 30 years ago. Can we make a vegan camp out in the U.S.? That would be fun. I know that the Strong Hearts Vegan people from the running team and everything, they do vegan camping. They get everybody together and they go camping. Does the mouthpiece of this isn't a Hydroflex. This is like a different one. This Tiago. This doesn't leak at all, no. The ones I got are really good, state of the art. And is it the Hydro Flask one? Yeah, the Hydro Flask one. Every time I go there at the expo, the guy, he gives me a new one every time. He's really cool, and they're awesome. So please show the videos. I will. I'm not going to do it right now because I need to figure. I need to figure out a couple more audio things, and then we'll do it. Once I get everything perfect, then we'll do it. Yeah, I think that would be fun too, where I could show the videos and then I can narrate over them. I'm like, this is me when I was 14. Oops, what did I do there? Don't do that at home, folks. Stuff like that. I know, I'm just saying, like, because I don't think I'm old, but there's a lot of people that are younger that kind of forget that when we were young that we didn't all have. I mean, imagine being born and never knowing anything except like always having cell phones and computers and stuff like that. So that's all I'm saying. Do I track my water intake? No. I probably don't drink enough water. The only reason I'm drinking this now is because I'm live and I just want something so my voice doesn't get all. But this is only, that's all I've drinking pretty much. Halloween makeup tutorials. I've done that. I've actually done it. Zombie makeup tutorials. Lost on Earth. I used to do that too. Record radio shows on the boomboxes. And your favorite song. Like, oh, my new favorite song's out. Let's record it. Now you have it. Whatever happened to Gary? I don't know. I think he was sick and tired of people. He doesn't. He's a vegan for the animals. He loves animals and he pretty much hates people. Carissa, we're the same age. Yep. So you know what we're talking about here. Yeah, Holly. Or start recording before the song comes on. Okay, the next one's going to be good. Nope, it's not the one I want. Stop. Pause. What did I eat today? What did I eat today? I had a smoothie. I didn't finish the smoothie. I had about half of my smoothie. And then I had pizza. Flatbread pizza with Miyoko's cheese. Because I had some flatbread pizza here. So... And that's it so far. Is it dark out? What time is it? It's 10 o'clock already? What? How's the nightlife in Syracuse? As a vampire or... there's a place called Armory Square, and then there's obviously Syracuse University, which is like a big party school. So there's definitely stuff going on, but I don't participate. Craven Baby says, remember before the computer and cell phone days seems like... Definitely. It's weird, isn't it? How things have changed. I remember when we first got a VCR. And I remember when we first got a microwave. And I remember before that when we didn't have those things. I still have all my cassette tapes too. Fat Rabbit freezer meals. Never heard of them. Harris Teeter. I've not heard of Harris Teeter in a long time. But I used to live in Arlington, Virginia. And that's where I used to shop most of the time. Harris Teeter. Yeah, there's I don't know though, because every time I do a cooking video, they don't really do well at all. Are you in a town near Syracuse? I am in Syracuse. Liverpool, which is right Syracuse. What was I just gonna say? There was something I was gonna say. Oh yeah, for my cooking videos. So I think, so you guys, well, the views usually come to my videos when I don't know, when I talk about something and coming from my perspective as a long-term vegan, like as a 25-year vegan, because there's not too many 25-year plus vegans on YouTube as YouTube content creators that I know of, at least. So when we come with like an authority like that, like meaning there's a lot of anti-vegans saying you cannot be vegan, you can't be vegan long term, you're gonna have health problems, all this garbage. And if that's so, then how come myself and everybody I know that's a long-term vegan are completely healthy? So it just destroys their whole argument right there, and they don't like that. So now I'm under attack by all these anti-vegans just because of that. Whatever. So I'm gonna continue to promote veganism in that way, and I'm just gonna talk about experience. It's not hard, and I mean, I don't look like I'm wasting away to you guys, do I? I mean, that's what they all say, is I look horrible and I look so sickly and all kinds of stuff. But they're only saying it because I'm a threat to their whole agenda. They say you can't be vegan and vegans are going to like die out with like flies and all this stupid stuff. But I've never had a problem, and I've never even really tried that hard. It's just my normal everyday life. I just don't eat animal products. And that's how I live my life every single day for the last quarter of a century. So I have a video coming up on my blood results. And I promise I will do that bread video, the sourdough bread, which I've already filmed the starter recipe, which is the prelude for it. You got to know how to do that before you can make the bread. And then like any kind of like, I guess that's what you would call a drama video, is like, addressing these people that are, putting veganism down or saying just ridiculous things. And those videos seem to get a lot of views. What else? Shopping videos. Sometimes when I do shopping videos, they get decent views. Sometimes they don't. So you never really know. Taste test videos, same thing. Sometimes you guys, a lot of people watch them, and sometimes just a few hundred watch them. So I don't know. What else? I have noticed though that the cooking videos are probably the least viewed videos. I don't know. Rosette, thank you so much for the super chat donation. I appreciate that, and it really helps the channel. Old school vegan recipes. Now there's something we could do. We can go back and I can make all the things that I used to make back in the day when I first went vegan. We could read like mean comments that these anti-vegans wrote. They're funny. Side note, Holly says, don't buy the Fat Rabbit products. It doesn't say vegan, it says vegetarian, and there isn't enough information as to why on their website. Ooh, okay, yeah, you probably have to do some more. Maybe call them up and ask them. Graven Baby, Saturday Night Live. I remember when it was funny. Just kidding, it was never funny. The pups are doing good. I have a video idea for the pups. And the video I filmed last night has some pups in it. Do you guys like that I'm doing videos now on the main channel every Monday and Thursday, like a set schedule? I feel like after I get a video, I'm like, oh, what do I do now? Like I have got all this time before I have to upload another video. Because there's some times that I would do 4 videos a week. But then sometimes that I would only do 1 video a week, so... Yeah, seriously, Rosette, thank you so much for that super chat. How did the deep fried Oreo video go? I enjoyed doing the video, and I tried to, capture everything like the way I used to do the original vegan zombie videos, which let me say something about that in a second. But overall, the video did not do very well. It didn't get very many views. And I thought, hey, this was a fun cooking video, vegans cooking with a vegan zombie. Now, here's the difference, okay? And it's pretty impossible for me to do it the way I used to. So when you guys say that you like the old cooking videos that I used to do with John, it was a whole different thing because I made it if you go and watch them, watch how I film it. I would do different angles, like everything. Like, here's an angle over here. And before you had a chance to get bored of the video and click off, the camera would be over here. And then it'd be right up to his face. And then it'd be back. And it'd be like right in the food. It'd be all over the place. So it was like you're always watching, no matter if you didn't want to eat the what we made or not. Like, I tried to make it really entertaining. And that's almost impossible for me to do on my own with nobody helping me, because I have tripods, so it's not the same. So yeah, I have two cameras, so I'll have a tripod and I'll have my iPhone, so maybe I'll show like what I'm making and then on my face, and then I'll zoom in a little bit, but it's definitely not the same without me behind the camera. So I think that's why it worked back then, and how maybe I have problems now doing that, because it's not, maybe it doesn't grab everybody's attention like it used to. I don't know. So yeah, that Oreo video didn't do well, and a lot of people were like, no, that's not healthy. But that wasn't the point. The point wasn't to be healthy. In fact, I never even tried them myself because I don't do oil or junk food like that anymore. I mean, every once in a while, but I wasn't feeling it. I didn't want it. Nothing against it, I ate a lot of junk food in the past, and I'm fine. Like I said, I was a junk food vegan for 18 years before I started being more health conscious. So, I grew up eating junk food too, so I don't think it's the end of the world. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be some health food video. It's just a fun vegan junk food video. And just because it's junk food doesn't mean that it's not vegan. So what do I think gets more views, cheap health food or cheap junk food? My videos, it's the junk food. When I do really healthy food, some people get a lot of views on health food. I don't seem to. Although I did get decent views when I did like my no oil, like healthy no oil, what I eat in a day. So maybe I'll do that. Did I eat no oil yesterday? Pretty much. No, there's one thing that I tried that I think had a little bit of oil in it, and that's just because I wanted to try something that a company sent me. So other than that, everything else was like no oil and pretty healthy. So cooking videos with Katie. Well, yeah, like I said, Katie, I just posted her first video for them, actually. So I did all the editing and stuff, but my brother filmed it. And let me tell you, you guys got to see it. If you guys have seen Katie in my videos, I've never seen Katie like that, because every time I'm over there, she doesn't act the way she does around her when only her parents are around. So she acts way different. Whereas if I'm there, she's a little bit different because I'm not her parents. So that video is really funny, I think. And so go watch that video when you're done here. It's called Katie Needs a Napkin. They make tofu scramble. I should find a camera, guys. So Craig has helped me most of the time when I need help doing videos, but I mean, he can't. I mean, I don't think he can always help me, because sometimes I do videos like really late and he's not on the same schedule as me. But for the most part, like, he's always down to help me. So that's cool. Well, John used to be in the videos with me, but I mean, you guys have probably seen the video where we talked about it. He kind of like got away from it. But then I convinced him to start his own channel. I'm like, John, you've got a lot to talk about. You really should, even if you're not going to be on my channel, you should start, doing videos on your own, and he has, and he's doing pretty good right now, for just starting the channel. And you guys know that he's always on this channel every Wednesday. We do live stream our little podcast, what we call it. I don't know if it's technically a podcast. It's just a live stream, but it's a podcast. Mel liked the Oreo video. Thanks, Mel. Rebecca enjoyed mentally eating the fried Oreos. Same here. They were good in theory. But I'm excited to do like some Twitch, because that'd be more time to interact with you guys. So when I'm not filming a video or editing a video, I can go on Twitch and we can just talk about whatever. You know, if the next the newest vegan trend, or maybe we just want to talk about scary movies or something. We can talk about whatever. I'll put my no egg voodoo doll. Oh. Well, yeah, obviously I'm going to tell people on my channel to go over to Katie's channel. That's and my other brother did it. So I'm trying to get all my friends and relatives, like, start a channel. Let's do a channel. I'm trying to create people's channels to help do collabs with, because there's really not many here that I know of in Syracuse, New York. I don't even really do too many YouTube collabs when I go out to California, but with other YouTubers, that is. But I do collabs with, like, my friends out there. Like, you guys know that we always do some epic videos when I get to hang out with Cesar. That's always fun, and we get to go out to all the newest and some of the best vegan restaurants, and that's always fun, because here we only have one. So unless I want to travel to, like, New York City or something, I'm stuck here with just one. Or maybe go the other direction, go to Toronto. You brought me back talking about Lollapalooza. I was there in Las Vegas. It was crazy. And I think that was the first one. Maybe the second, but 94. Good old Perry Farrell. I didn't see him there, though. But I already talked about that. George Clinton. And then I saw George Clinton at the airport, and I was like, is that George Clinton? And then the drummer sat with me. Benzlemore. He's cool. I have not seen the movie Us. I need to see some movies. I started watching the Dark Crystal series last night. Salem's Lot. Yes, I love Salem's Lot. Lost Boys. Yeah. Silver Bullet. The Howling. Yeah, too many computer graphics. But so it's like the more simple they are, the better. Like I like all those special effects more than the visual effects. You know, tangible effects, not CGI. I can't link her channel because I don't think that. Let me see. We just made it today, so it might not show up in the search. I might have to. Hold on. Let's see. I found it. She's only got 3 subscribers right now, so it would mean the world if you guys, after this, or even real quick, went over and subscribed and maybe left her a little nice comment, because my brother or my sister-in-law will definitely read those to her. So give her some positive feedback, you know. But that's the channel right there. Go over there and definitely give her a subscribe. I want to see that subscribe go up. We got 53 people watching, and maybe I'll be on her show sometime. You know. I also got my friend Rachel to start a channel too. So she just started a channel, and I'm excited to do a video with her because she loves plants. Not just eating them, but like plants. Tons and tons of plants, which is pretty awesome. Because we need plants. We need plants to live. Thank you for subscribing, guys. She'll be surprised. And then I'll link it in, like, I'll do another video or something where I tell everybody, go follow Katie. I want to get a good video where I can get both Katie and Macy in the video, which they were in that solar power video too, but I don't know. We've been on for almost 3 hours, and like I feel like not as much time has gone by. I could keep going on this. It's like nice. What is it? Saturday night? What did you do on your Saturday night? I don't know. I just talked to my computer, to my camera. Oh, speaking of which, that other battery might be dying soon too, and if that happens, we're in trouble. Then you don't have to see me anymore. You can just listen to me. Close your eyes and listen. Yeah, Katie needs a napkin. So Marina came up with that because if you watch the beginning of the video, if you remember the birthday party video, I said, Katie, you need a napkin. And she's like, I need a napkin. Perfect, right? Well, I keep looking over here. Like, this is how I can see my stream over on the side right here. And, like, the background looks so awesome. I love it. I love it. I went from hating my background to, painted the walls. Maybe I could show you guys, like, what it looks above there. Hold on. Look at that. So, you can't really tell, but I have, like, the foam sound thing, reverb things up there. And then I have the creature from the Black Lagoon right there. I know it's far away. You probably can't really see it too good. But, yeah. And I got the light strip that I just opened up and put together right before I went live. We got E.T., Big and Zombie. We got a plant. So, I still think I can put some more lights in here to, like, light some of the stuff up. But this is what we got working with right now. So, which Rachel's channel? I don't know yet because she hasn't posted a video yet. But I'll let you guys know soon when that happens. Okay. You guys want to hear another story? Well, I have like a million stories, and you guys know I can tell a story, but you got to pick my brain. Like I gotta tell you a story if you guys are gonna. Like you gotta ask me, like, because I can't just, like, when somebody says just tell me a story, I'm like, oh man, what can I talk about? But I do have a lot of stories. I feel like the ones that are coming to my head, I feel like I've already talked about. And coming up in the next coming month, which starts tomorrow, I will be doing, I'll be telling scary stories and stuff, which I don't want to waste them right now because I want to wait more towards, like, that time of the year, scary fall kind of theme. It's still technically summer, so I like that. I like the horror theme, yeah. Graven Babies. Aliens. Well, I do have an alien story, but I feel like that one is a little too... I'm going to wait on that one. I want to keep those for, like, the horror ones that I want to talk about because it's pretty interesting. The painting story. Refresh my memory. What do you mean the painting story? Any good Florida man type? I mean, I have a really good Florida story, but I really don't know if I should say it. It's bad. So, but it's a really good story, but you guys probably wouldn't believe it either. Not like you wouldn't believe me, but you'd be like, oh my God. So what can I think of in Florida? Florida story. I'm thinking now. I'm trying. You got the gears turning. I'm trying to think what happened in Florida that is not that story. when I have videos on a lot of things, so when I get the audio working, I can pull up actual videos of me from like when I actually lived in Florida when I was 19, and we can talk about it. Because that's where I bought my first Hi8 camcorder. Is it a pawn shop in Florida, and then I just started filming everything and a lot of skateboarding, but other things too. Well, Vegan Metalhead, tell your mom I said happy birthday. I didn't create this shirt. This shirt is from Vegan Vampire. So if you go to Vegan Vampire Inc., I believe on Instagram, I think you might have a Facebook too, I'm not sure, you'll find this shirt, along with some other really cool shirts too. I think he's got like 3 or 4 that are pretty cool. Oh, the scary painting in the basement. It's a good story, I know, but those are the stories I want to save for like more of the Halloween time, because those are the scary stories I don't want to, like, I told it last year, but like if I tell it now, it's not going to be, nobody's going to want to hear it in like a month. Worse than when you saw the guy. Yeah, worse than that. Holly's really going, sending hugs. Thank you, Holly, for watching. Got to go watch Jack White. Okay, that's fair enough. You can, Jack White's cooler than me. Whatever. But thanks for watching, Holly. Chris says, do you think it's weird that people you've never met now share some of your scary stories or memories? At one point, yeah, I thought that was weird. And I was like incredibly insecure and shy to go in front of the camera, but it's kind of normal for me now. Like I'm just telling my stories to whoever wants to hear, some of you are all over the world. I mean, where's everybody from right now? Let's find out. Who is there anybody here that's not from North America? How about that? Probably not many people are watching from over in Europe and stuff, just because it's really, really late, but there might be. Funny story about Indy or Zeke. They're always funny. Graven Babies in Florida. A lot of Florida's coming up, and I haven't been there in a long time. Well, I mean, when I went on I don't really count it, but when I went on the vegan cruise a few years ago, we set out of the port in Miami. So, but other than that, I haven't been to Florida in a long time. Minneapolis, Vegas, Canada, Colorado. What part of Canada? Michigan, Maryland, Chicago, New Brunswick, Long Island, Kansas. Let's think. Did you guys know my Wizard of Oz story, right? Kansas. I could tell that story, but I feel like you guys already know. I just told that recently, right? Does anybody want to hear that? The Wizard of Oz? Or is that too boring? Florida, Washington, New Orleans. I haven't been to New Orleans in a long time. 1996, I think. Maybe 1997. Nothing vegan there when I went back then, but I loved it. Love that vampire-ish feel. Well, that's just because, I know Anne Rice lives there and stuff, and I was looking for... Oh, we got Buffalo, New York. Were you at the Buffalo Veg Fest? Let's hear it. Cool. All right. So if you guys don't remember my Wizard of Oz, I'll tell it. Here we go. Do I have any Bloody Mary stories? I was that kid that went in the bathroom with the light off and looked in the mirror and said it. I said it. All right, we're telling the Wizard of Oz story. Sorry to those of you that have already heard this story. I'm gonna tell it again. So, I grew up, and my parents still live, and my brother still lives in the town where L. Frank Baum was born. L. Frank Baum wrote The Wizard of Oz. And this town has yellow brick sidewalks, and it's very Oz themed. And when I was little, growing up, they started doing an Oz parade, which they still do to this day. I haven't been in a while, but they still have an Oz parade, and it brings more people into town than the actual population of the town. So on that day, the town is filled with more people than it normally has on an average day. And when I was little, every year there would be an Oz parade that I would go to with my friends, and we'd either ride our bikes down or our skateboards, and we'd have fun. And there was any living people that were in the actual movie would usually show up there. And this was the only living people at the time were the Munchkins, the coroner, Meinhardt Robbie, Jerry Marin. Those are the only two names I remember, but there's more. And so the Lullaby Lids, the Lollipop Guild, the coroner, and I think there was one other. But they would come to the town that I lived in. And my dad was big into like the community, and he ended up doing professionally. He ended up playing the part of the Tin Man along with with two other professional actors, and then the Dorothy was she was one of my neighbors, so just like a high school student. But the Scarecrow and the Lion were both, I think they were on this show called the Saturday Showboat. So they were like, professional actors, but not really famous or anything. And my dad was the Tin Man. And I got picked on because of that. But my dad was the Tin Man. And like he would perform like at, get-togethers and state fair events, stuff like that. And because of this, they were, friends with the Munchkins and stuff. So I remember I was like 14 years old. So this is right around the time that I told you about the beginning story of this stream like 3 hours ago. And I rode my bike home from the Oz parade. And I walked inside, and I walked up the stairs to my living room. And right there in the dining room were all of the Munchkins from The Wizard of Oz. And they were like, "Hi, Chris, how you doing? And hey, you want us to sign this for you?" And they had like this postcard with Dorothy and Toto, which I still have. I don't know where it is right at this moment, but I think it's in one of these drawers over here. Wish I could find it right now, but I don't have it on me at the second. And they all signed it for me. And it was a very surreal moment because I always think, like, did this really happen or was it a dream? Was I really standing in my dining room with all the Munchkins from The Wizard of Oz that I watched all the time when I grew up? I mean, every time that movie was on, we would watch it. Like, once, 2, 3 times a year, every year. I mean, I hate the movie now because I watched it so much as a kid, and I can't stand it. But at the time, I loved it. And it was just surreal to see those Munchkins in my, talking to me and signing my card and everything. So that's it. That's my Wizard of Oz story. I'm sticking to it. So Oz is in New York and not Kansas. Well, it originated in New York. That's where the creator of The Wizard of Oz was born. And that's our claim to fame, so the claim to fame of the small town that I'm from. And the other claim to fame was Dave Mirra. So if you guys know who Dave Mirra was, he was like one of the most awarded X Games BMX biker. He was amazing, and I was friends with him. He was a year ahead of me, and I remember watching him ride his bike in my little town, and I wanted to ride a bike like him too. But then I gave the bike up for skateboarding, and I became a skateboarder. But Dave was amazing, and he came from Chittenango, and he's got a freaking Sony PlayStation game, Dave Mirra's Sony game. Like, I mean, he made it big time. you have my stream on your TV and it looks really, really good. That's cool. This is a streaming from a 4K camera, so, but I think it's only going out in 1080p. So, but that's awesome. That's good to hear. Well, in 5 more seconds, we will have been streaming for 3 hours. 3, 2, 1, boom, 3 hours. That's a long stream. I have a lot of scary stories, yeah. I want to save those scary stories for the Halloween time, though. Scary stories like that. But maybe, I don't know. I have reservations telling the Florida story. I don't know if I should. Maybe I need some consultation on that before I say that story. And that's not like scary as in like Halloween scary. That's just like, probably, I don't know if I should tell that story because you guys would probably be in a weird mood afterwards. So yeah, let's not do that. Maybe another day. Can I make tank tops? If you request one, I could do it. But last time I tried to make them, they didn't sell. So, but I was going through my blank shirts and I did find that I had one. But I don't know, I don't know what size you are, and I don't really know too much. It's not that big either. It's like, I don't know. If you can show me what kind of tank you want, then I could custom make it for you. Because I make my own shirts, by the way, if you guys were wondering. I make them in my garage. I have not seen Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, but I definitely want to see that because I remember the books when I was little. What do you think about the one with the documentary of Michael Jackson? Actually, I just started. I watched part 1 last night, so I'm not done with it. The documentary. You keep thinking no, I would never spit. I would never do chew, ever. Ugh. This is water. Does it look like I'm vaping too? Special effects vape? No, I would never do that. Please, I'm girl, woman. What? I have tried a Ouija board, yeah. In fact, one of my shirts is designed after a Ouija board. You guys, the Goodbye Cruelty shirt. XFG says, I saw you at the Buffalo Veg Fest, met you as you were packing up and bought the Mike Doesn't Care shirt. Oh, I remember that. I can't wait to wear it around Halloween. Yeah, the Mikey Doesn't Care at All. That was a cool shirt. It didn't really sell when I posted it last Halloween, but at that Veg Fest, at the Buffalo Veg Fest, a lot of people bought it. So all the ones that I had left over, they were almost all purchased, which is cool because I mean I love horror, so I try to implement horror into my veganism, and it's just a picture of Michael Myers holding a carrot instead of a knife, and it says Mikey Doesn't Carrot All. Mikey doesn't care at all. Yeah, I heard vaping is not even really that much better for you than smoking cigarettes. So, what's my experience with the Ouija? I mean, let's just say the X-Files shirt. I want to believe, but I mean, I used one once when I was little, and my friend described word for word seeing this lady that my mom was like, "That's my granny. That's her, exactly." And so I don't know. I mean, I don't know what Red Dead is, but any game that you can find a vampire sounds like a game I want to check out. Let's see. All right, this is me in kindergarten. That's 19. Can you guys guess the date? It says the date right on the back. That's Chris in kindergarten. I'll show you, since we're sitting here, I'll show you all the pictures of me that I have on this little thing. What is Discord? I don't really know too much. It's like for Twitch, but it's like a community where you can get together with like all of your like Twitch followers or whatever, and you guys can talk, or kind of like this stream or Skype. I'm not really sure because I haven't done it yet, but I did sign up for it when I did Twitch. So I have played Skyrim, yeah. Anyway, I'm just going to tell you. So that was 1981, a year before I was inspired by my favorite movie, E.T. E.T. right there. So that makes the next one. Oh, we skip a grade because that was me in kindergarten. So this is me 2 years later. So this has to be 1983, well after I watched E.T. And I had already been inspired by E.T. I've already shed my tears for E.T. And then that brings me to the next one. It looks like the next one is third grade. So do you guys want to... Was it second grade or third grade? Hold on. Second grade, third grade. So third grade, this is me in... Is that me? Look like my brother. That's me in third grade. You're right, 1981. So this has to... So the next one was 1983. And then this one right here would be 1984. This one Gremlins came out. And there I am. And that's what I looked like when I was in third grade. And my teacher said, "What's the biggest number you guys can think of?" And everybody was like, a zillion, 100 billion, a gazillion. And all the while I was in the back of the class raising my hand. "Oh, pick me. Chris, a Googleplex. Chris, stop making I'm a Google. No, Chris, stop saying gibberish things. That's not a number." It's like, "Yes, it is. It's bigger than any number you guys have ever said." She's like, "No," and she made me just be quiet. Like I wasn't allowed to. I would just gibberish. So my dad came in the next day because I'm like, I got in trouble because she wanted to know the biggest number, and I told her, and she didn't. I was wrong, and she said I was wrong, and everybody else, I was causing a disruptance or whatever because I was just mumbling gibberish. So my dad came in with this book right here, this very book right here. He actually gave this to me not too long ago. This is Cosmos by Carl Sagan. In this book, they talk about the scientist that came up with a Google, which is a 1 with 100 zeros after it. And he had his nephew, I think it was his nephew. He said, "I have the largest number right here, the 1 with 100 zeros after it, and I want you to name it." And his nephew says, "A Google." So he said, "That's what it's going to be called, is a Google. There's a 1 with 100 zeros after it." And so my dad taught me that way back in like 1981 or 82 or whatever. And I remembered that, and I used it in school, and when I told the teacher, I got in trouble. So that was now my little niece Katie knows the word. She knows the highest number of Google or Googleplex. And what year did this come out? Like 1980. Let's see. 1980. So yeah. So then, anyway, that's too long of a story. I'll stop there. Fourth grade. So this is Chris on fourth grade. Fourth grade Chris. If you noticed, my hair is very bad, and I definitely needed braces. And if you can see, way back in the day, is it the first one? I don't know if you can see. Can you see that? Let me see. Anyway, I had a black tooth. My tooth, I hit it when I was real little, and it died, and I had a black tooth, my front one. But thankfully, it was my baby tooth, and it came out, and I don't have black teeth anymore. 4th grade. Now I'm in 5th grade, and here I am in 5th grade. I was kind of going for the MacGyver hair, the feathered back MacGyver hair back then. But so what did the teacher say then? The teacher went in front of the class and said, guys, I just want to make an announcement. Yesterday when I told Chris he was wrong, he was right. But for our sake, we're going to talk about numbers that are much smaller. All right, I'll tell the rest of that story. Okay, so many, many years later, like 30 years later, I was sitting in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I was probably like 35 or something, and I was an executive for Target. I was an executive team lead of assets protection, so I was security, but I was at a meeting for all of the executives of the Eastern region, and there was a big seminar, and I was sitting at a table. I was sitting in an entire room full of people that I didn't know, and I was sitting at a table with only one person that I did know that was from the Syracuse area of one of the Targets here. So it was just me and him and like a bunch of people that we didn't know, and this young guy is giving us a lecture, a presentation, and he's talking and everything, and I'm just struggling not to fall asleep because I don't do well with like lectures and stuff. I'm just like trying to keep my eyes open, not even really paying attention. And then he says something like, we hear terms every day and we might not even know what these terms mean. We just take them for granted. But for instance, does anybody here actually know what Google means? And all of a sudden I perked up. Nobody knew the answer at this time. I know that there's, probably like half the people out there know what Google means and half the people don't. They just think it's a search engine. But as soon as he said that, I was like, oh, it's a number. He goes, exactly, it's a number. And he was kind of surprised that I knew that because he wanted to make a point that nobody knew. But the fact was, he didn't even know how big the number was, but I did. And I went on to tell him because he didn't know. He's like, exactly, it's a number. And I'm like, it's a 1 with 100 zeros after it. And he's like, yeah, it's a big number. And so anyway, that was something that I learned that I never thought I would use in life that came in handy because I remember it was, and my friend that I was sitting at, he kind of was like this, and as soon as he heard me say that, he turned around, he looked at me, he's like, way to go, Cooney. That's my last name. So, that's my story. Because we learn a lot of things in school, especially, that we never use ever again. Like, I don't think I've ever used algebra or the Pythagorean theorem or quadratic equations. I've never used any of that. Somebody's probably used it that's doing stuff that I'm not doing. Kelly says, were your parents okay with you going vegetarian and then vegan? Did people only care about protein at that time too? So I was 14 when I went vegetarian, and no, they did not support me, but at that time they also weren't going to force feed me. So they basically said, well, if you don't eat what we eat, then you're going to starve, kind of thing. So that was the time that I started making my own food. I started learning to cook. And I remember specifically, like I can see in my head, like I started making and that's, I kind of still do it today too, but like the first things I started making were like rice. So I was making rice and I'm like, I want this rice to taste better than rice that mom makes. So what am I going to do? I'm going to just experiment. I just took a bunch of spices and stuff and I threw it in the water before I put the rice in it. So I'm like, let's put some dried oregano, dried basil. Let's put some of this in there, like just different things. And then, and you can still do this just vegan because I was a vegetarian, not a vegan at the time. I took a couple slices of cheese and I melted them in the water. And when it all came to a boil, I put the rice in and I put the top on and I steamed it. And sure enough, it came out really good. So I'm like, okay, so I nailed the first thing that I tried, and let's try to make some other things. And, as time went on, my mom, they just didn't support me. My dad didn't really care, but my mom's like, you better start eating what the others eat or, you're going to make yourself sick. Like that kind of thing. And then shortly after that, my brothers decided to follow my footsteps and go vegetarian. So now my mom's like, okay, now I got 3 kids that are vegetarian. So I need to start making some vegan or vegetarian food at least. And then, then I went vegan 4 years later, and here we are today, and my whole family is vegan except for my dad. So it took a long time because my mom was pretty much like mostly plant-based for a good majority of time, but now she's like, she's vegan and sends me pictures of stuff that she makes all the time and stuff like that. That's right, Gomez. 95%. Well, I don't know if it's exactly 95, but a good percentage of history that we were taught was wrong. And I did have braces when I was in like, what was it? I was like 6th grade. I got braces, and I had them. I had braces for 6 years. I had braces from 6th grade all the way until I graduated high school because I remember. I graduated from high school and I had a bottom retainer that was like, I couldn't take it out. It was like on 2 of the teeth and then it went behind my bottom teeth. So it was there. And I remember thinking that I might not stay here because I didn't know what I was like, at the spur of the moment, I was ready to move away from home. So I'm like, I don't know. I need this out of here. Like, I didn't care. I'd never worn my retainer. And then I went camping one time in the Adirondacks and it broke. It came out. So I took the other one and I just like ripped it out. And I eventually needed to go to the dentist to get those actual caps taken off my teeth. So I was a rebel because I never I'm glad that I understand like now, like I didn't want braces, but like my parents made me get them, obviously, for good reason, to make my teeth better. My teeth I had buck teeth, like really bad. And so it completely corrected my teeth. And then I was like, well, I didn't want these, and like now that I don't have to go to the dentist anymore, I'm never going to wear my retainer. So I completely stopped wearing my retainer. And then if you don't wear your retainer, you can't even put it in because your teeth go back to how they were. And that's basically what happened. My teeth pretty much got pretty buck teeth, And then about 7 years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago, I decided to go. I still had I had good health insurance with my job at the time. And so I went to the dentist. I'm like, look, I'm looking into Invisalign. And they're like, yeah, you could totally do Invisalign. It'll take about 14 months. So I did Invisalign, and my teeth are perfect now. And I'm very, because I paid for it because my insurance didn't do anything because I ended up leaving that job. And then they gave me the whole bill. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Wasn't the insurance supposed to pay half of it? And they're like, yeah, but you don't have it anymore, so you're paying all of it. I'm like, what? So I got stuck with paying it all, and I did, but I'm still glad that I did because my teeth are perfect now. And I still wear the Invisalign retainer I can get away with doing it every 3 nights. I don't like to wear it every night, but you should wear it every night, but I wear it every 3 nights. How old was I when I don't really remember how old I was when they went vegetarian. I think my brother Pat went vegetarian not too long after I did because like all my friends were pretty much went vegetarian at the same time, but veganism was unheard of. Like I didn't really know any vegans at the time. And then a couple of my friends went vegan, which they're not vegan anymore today. And then yeah, I learned too much and I went vegan. And like I would have learned all of that a lot faster if the internet existed back then, but it didn't. Google didn't exist. I went vegan 4 years before Google even existed. So it was a lot harder to learn these things back then than it is now. So yeah, I think the internet is like huge in, getting people to go vegan, getting people to see, like it's huge for promoting veganism. Yeah. I have a good video where I talk about my vegan story about how I went vegan, and I posted on the exact day, the exact anniversary that I went vegan. But that was 2 years ago, so that was like 23-year vegan. Now I'm 25-year vegan, and I think it's perfect to do my blood test video results then too, because tomorrow is September, and that marks the month that I went vegan. So. What's my favorite holiday? Like Halloween or Christmas. I like both of them for different reasons. But I love all the days going up to Halloween. And I said this recently too. I almost don't even know if I really like Halloween anymore. And not because I don't like Halloween, but because it's such an amazing time leading up to Halloween. But then when Halloween actually comes, it's like a huge disappointment because it's over so fast. And then it's like, all right, all the Halloween stuff away. Now we're moving on to something else. And I'm like, no, I don't want it to end. Please take me back to at least one day before Halloween. So yeah. Do I believe in aliens? I do. I do believe in aliens. And my theory is that, see, I'm a very skeptical, logical person, and I would say that that I don't really believe in ghosts and spirits and stuff like that. But listen. I want to believe in those because I think it's very interesting, but I don't. I don't believe in them. And the reason why is because I think it's more logical and realistic to think that that it's possibly, somebody coming back in time through like another dimension, or maybe it's an alien that we can't quite grasp or see. So we're just calling them ghosts and spirits. But what if what we're actually seeing when we do see like some paranormal entity is something very scientific that we can't explain? Like it's more plausible to think that it was an alien that has advanced technology, superior technology that we can't maybe see all the dimensions that they can travel in or show themselves or do things. Or maybe it is somebody coming back in time that is slamming a door or something, and they're in another dimension that is partially coming into our dimension or something like that. I think that's more realistic than thinking, oh, it's a ghost, it's a spirit, it's a ghost. So, I mean, that's just my take on it. So, postpartum depression, Halloween depression. I think they should definitely do vegan food at school too, because there really wasn't much to eat vegan when I was in school. In fact, I wasn't a vegan. Wow, it makes me sound old. I've been vegan for 25 years, and I wasn't vegan when I was in high school. So I had already graduated from high school before I went vegan. So I never want Halloween to end. Let's make a holiday where Halloween doesn't end. It just keeps going on and 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 on. Have I written any kids' books? Well, I mean, I wrote The Vegan Zombie, and I think that's... I wrote a cookbook, and I would like that cookbook when I was a kid, but yeah. Well, we're going on 3.5 hours, so I guess even though I could keep going, I think we're gonna get going. We're gonna get going in about. We'll call it in 5 minutes. So at 3:30, 3 hours and 30 minutes, we're gonna log off now. Do you get winter depression? I wouldn't say depression. I don't get depressed. But a feeling of being cooped up in winter, yeah, maybe a little bit, but yeah, I wouldn't call it depression. Yeah, times were different back then. Like, people would think you're crazy if you're trying to be vegan back when I was a little kid in school. I had the rubber bands too and the braces at the beginning, before they actually gave me. No, wait, maybe they. Yeah, in the back and right here. I had this thing that went up. Oh, and I got in a fight too when I was in 6th grade. The summer after 6th grade, and I still remember the exact clothes I was wearing, and I had braces, and my friend. It was my friend. We're still friends today, even though I haven't seen him in years and years. He sucker punched me really, 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 really hard. And I guess you could say it knocked me out, but I never fell down. I guess I kind of just wandered around. And it was weird. I like saw like weird green and orange things. And like I didn't know where I was. But then I collected my consciousness and I'm like, wait a minute. He punched me. I bet he punched me. And then all of a sudden I like woke up and I was like 15 feet from where I was. I wasn't on the ground. I guess I walked away, knocked out. But the first thing I did at that point was pulled my cheek out of my braces. So he punched me and my braces cut right through my cheek, right through. And I could put my tongue through it. And I was like, oh man. And at that point, I'm like, I'm not going to fight you back. I'm going to go to the hospital right now. So I walked down to my cousin's house and I looked in the mirror and I still got a scar right there too. And every once in a while it hurts. And this is like 30 years ago, like literally 30 years ago. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, oh man, this isn't some little cut. I got to go to the hospital. So I did. My mom took me to the hospital and they had to put stitches in my mouth. So for the next more than a couple days, I couldn't eat anything solid. I could only drink like milkshakes, and I couldn't laugh. And I remember being at my friend's house, and I remember it. You can even like Google when this happened, because I remember a new band came out and they were on MTV, and they were called the New Kids on the Block, Hangin' Tough. So yeah, that was a long time ago. But hey, it happens. Well, vegan metalhead, the first thing my friend said, not the one that punched me, the other friend goes, you know what you need to do now is you need to punch him back. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I can right now. My legs were like jello, and my braces went through my lip, my cheek, so I wasn't in any position. It tore apart my whole side right here. So that muscle like was severed. They had to stitch me up. Anyway, so he came over the next day with his mom, because my mom called his mom, and they thought it was just some harmless thing, but she looked at me and my mouth was like all up to here, and he was out there, and I was like, well, he sucker punched me last night, so even though I had stitches all in my mouth, I was that close, like I literally wanted to drop kick him in the face, and I was that close to doing it, and then he just like got down like on his knees and he started crying. He's like, I'm so sorry. You're like my best friend. And like, I didn't mean it. I'm so sorry. And I couldn't do it. So why did he do it? Because this other kid that was older than both of us, he came over and he told me that he was saying some things about me and wanted to fight me. And then he went over and told him that I had been saying things about his mom and I wanted to fight him. And neither were true. And we were like 12 or 13. 6th grade. Yeah, 12. I was wearing a Vision Streetwear shirt and these long black shorts that were longer than my knees, down to my knees. So, oh yeah, that's weird. And you know what? I think those are the only times I've ever been punched by anybody, and I mentioned them both in this stream. Yep. That's it. You're not going to hear any more because it's never happened again. Those are the only 2 times. No more punching stories. Not of me getting punched. Nope. But we're at 3:30. This was a great stream. I liked it. It's my first one with a good background. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. So let's see. Monday I'll be posting another video on Vegan Zombie. Next Wednesday, me and John will be going live on this channel around 6 o'clock, I think. And remember, go over and check out my niece's new video. Katie needs a napkin. So let's see if I still have it in my... There it is right here. So if you guys go over there, that would be awesome. If you guys subscribe to her channel and give her, like, you know, a nice comment or two, that'd be awesome. So thanks, everybody, for watching the stream. Have a great night. Watch out for zombies, and I'll see you guys soon.